Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for the Tech Guy is provided by Cachefly. CACHEFLY.com. Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Networks on Sunday, December 4th, 2016. This is episode 1346. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by Rocket Mortgage from Quicken Loans. Rocket Mortgage brings the mortgage process into the 21st century with a fast, easy, and completely online process. Check out Rocket Mortgage today at quickenloans.com/techguy. And by Epson's new EcoTank printers. With Epson's line of SuperTank all-in-one printers, you can print thousands of documents without running out of ink. EcoTank is loaded and ready to print when you are. Visit epson.com/ecotank to find out more. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Time to talk tech. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number if you want to talk about computers or the internet or home theater or digital photography or, I don't know, smartphones. Got a few of those hanging around. Smart watches. Got one of those on. One of the few, the smartwatch owner. We could talk about virtual reality, self-driving cars. Phone number is 888-827-5536. That's toll-free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. 888-827-5536. Might be easier to remember if I give you the mnemonic, which is 8888 Ask Leo. We have a website where you can find that phone number, a link to our fine chat room at irc.twit.tv, and also all the previous shows. That's techguylabs.com, and that's free. There's no sign-up or fee or anything. techguylabs.com. You can visit there if you hear something on the radio and you say, wait a minute, what? You don't have to write it down. You just we put it all there as I speak. I have scribes. Well, a scribe, James DeRuvo, writing it all down. So let's see, what could we what's in the news today? Bugs, root exploits, flaws in Firefox and Android, iOS lock screen vulnerabilities. I don't want to talk about that. How about this? The White House has released an augmented reality app for iOS or Android. I love this. So you know what augmented reality is? The idea is you're looking at the real world, not like virtual reality where you put on a headset and you don't see anything. You just have two screens right in front of your eyes and it appears to be surrounding you and like that. Augmented reality is more like you've got sunglasses. It's like a heads-up display. You've got sunglasses and you can see the real world, but superimposed on it is more information. And actually, I think that's actually the more interesting of the two technologies. Virtual reality is cool for gaming, for simulators, for, putting you somewhere you're not. But augmented reality augments the reality you're currently in. It could give you a new user interface to the world if you think about it. I could think of a lot of uses for it. Microsoft's been the first to really demonstrate this with its HoloLens, which right now is a developer's product. It's only, it's $3,000. You have to really be a developer to get it. But they say in the next few years, not tomorrow, but maybe not even 2017, but maybe in 2018, it'll be a consumer product. I wouldn't be surprised to see they're releasing a new version of the Xbox next year. Project Scorpio, and it's very fast. And I wouldn't be surprised to see at some point a HoloLens peripheral that you could plug into it. And imagine, for gaming, if you're playing Minecraft, Microsoft has actually demonstrated this, they own Minecraft, that you have a coffee table in front of you. You're in your living room, you see your living room, you see your coffee table, but on top of the coffee table is a giant Minecraft creation. And you can, like a castle or something, and you can build on it. You can look in the windows and see people inside. You could zoom into it if you wanted to. That's kind of interesting. We've seen also Mattel took the ViewMaster. Remember the ViewMaster? When you were a kid, you put it up to your eyes, and it had a disc of pictures, and you'd press the button, and the next picture would come in. It was stereoscopic, so it was kind of 3D, sort of. And, your pictures of Africa or whatever. Well, they still, it's the same. It looks the same. You still hold it up to your eyes. It even has a button still. But then they give you these discs. They look like ViewMaster discs. Instead of putting them in, you put it on the table, and then you point the ViewMaster at it, and a three-dimensional animated elephant appears on there. Well, that's kind of what the White House's program does. So you put it on your phone, and you run it, and it looks like you're looking through a camera, except if you put a dollar bill down on the table, and you point your phone at the dollar bill, suddenly the dollar bill comes to life with the White House on 3D popping up on top of it. It's kind of like a model of it. It's not, and then a helicopter flies by, and you can walk in, and it's all on your little table there. You can see stuff happening. I guess you can. It looks like you can make it rain or snow. You got the 4th of July fireworks. I don't know, if this is exactly a civics lesson. I guess they did it because they could. I don't know. That's kind of an interesting idea, though. Everybody's getting into the act. Everybody. Apple has said that they think, Tim Cook of Apple, the CEO, has said he thinks that the next big thing is augmented reality. Apple's always looking, all these companies have to look for the next big thing. It's not enough to have the current big thing. You got to have the next big thing. Because the stock market's always saying, well, nice, but what have you done for me lately? And so if you want your stock price to stay high, and you need that, by the way, that's not just some arbitrary number. You need that because that's kind of how you pay your best employees. You give them stock, right? So the promise of coming to work for a startup is, well, you're going to get stock, and it's going to go through the roof in a few years, and you're going to be rich. And so that's how you get the best employees, right? So it's hard for a company, established company like Apple, whose stock is already through the roof. Facebook too, for that matter, or Google. Nevertheless, so there's an engine they have to fuel because they've got to promise, it's going to go up. You should come work for us. Well, you're going to be rich. Silly, isn't it? That's what people are. I mean, you got to make a living. I understand that. Wouldn't it be more interesting to take a job where you were going to make a huge difference? Isn't that what Steve Jobs told John Sculley when he tried to hire him to run Apple? Sculley was a marketing executive at Pepsi, the soda pop company. And very famously, Steve Jobs, he's trying to hire him. Turned out to be a mistake because Sculley eventually fired Jobs. But he's trying to hire him. And he says, John, you don't want to make sell sugar water all your life, do you? How'd you like to come here and change the world? See, that, for somebody like John Sculley, and you get some really good stock, too. I suppose they threw that in. Jobs, when he came back to Apple, very famously said, I'll do it for $1 a year. They didn't mention the stock grant's worth billions. They didn't mention that. $1 a year. That's all the salary I'll take. What else is going on? So augmented reality, I think that's going to be big. We'll keep an eye on that. It may be years off. Apple apparently has been secretly meeting. That's two good words, isn't it? Secret meetings, it must be important, with the Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, for years. So this is something we've been wondering about the Apple Watch, because the Apple Watch is kind of, it's a glorified pedometer. Let's face it, right? It does your heart rate. That's pretty good. It has a GPS now, the new one, so it can see how far you ran, how your heart rate was, and, it can tell you when your phone rings. You can even answer your phone with the watch, although you really wouldn't want to have a long conversation speaking into your wrist. But really, I think Apple thinks that the real promise of wearables in general, not just watches, but they might be the ear pods, the long-awaited headphones from Apple, or I don't know, they could be glasses, they could be a variety of things. These wearables will have some health import. In fact, they have a project where researchers can offer apps for the Apple Watch to help them monitor patients with certain diseases and find out more about it. So apparently, this is Moby Health News discovered this. Apple, because these meetings are on public dockets and so forth. Moby Health News used a Freedom of Information Act to find these emails in which Apple's discussing 2 possible products in the cardiac space. More than a heart rate monitor, I don't know. And a diagnostic app for Parkinson's disease. Interesting. But they got to get FDA approval at some point. You can't just kind of say, here's something that'll help you with a disease. You got to get FDA approval. 8888 Ask Leo. Hey, let's talk high tech. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Wow, that's a great one. We got Crystal at the controls here, running the board, playing the music, our musical director today. I'm Leo Laporte, the tech guy. That is Kim Schaffer. Schaffer. I'm sorry. How long have we worked together? I'm sorry.
3 years plus.
It's spelled Schaefer. Schaefer
You know what? It's
is the one beer to have when you're having.
It's only my long deceased grandmother who insisted on Schaffer.
Well, it's just Schaffer, not AE.
Yeah.
So
I've been
it is
told
Schaffer.
It's actually Schaefer. So
Grandma knew.
Yeah. Well, her last name was not that. She was married into the family.
Oh, so she just decided.
She just decided.
I figure that always happens. Somebody just decides.
Yeah.
So you've been lining up wonderful telephone calls.
I have.
Yes.
And Paul in San Diego wants to buy a gift for his 11-year-old this holiday season and needs your help.
Awesome. I think I can help. Hi, Paul. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Thanks, Kim.
Hi, Leo. I'm looking at options to buy a system for my grandson, actually.
Oh, nice. That's great.
He currently uses his parents' PCs, and he spends lots of time on PowerPoint and enjoys Minecraft.
PowerPoint. Is that for school?
That's for school.
Yeah. Schools nowadays use PowerPoint a lot, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that's amazing to me. But in any case, then you think of a Chromebook and...
Well, it won't do it can do PowerPoint because Microsoft has a stripped-down web-based version of PowerPoint, which you could use. But, presentations, there's a lot of presentation programs out there. If the school insists on PowerPoint, it may be that you really have to have a Windows machine. And, of course, Minecraft, you kind of want Windows or Mac. You can play it on Linux too, but not on a stock Chromebook. So while a Chromebook is great for students, in fact, I think one of the reasons schools like it for students is because they can't play Minecraft on it. There's no temptation during class to fire up the old Minecraft. But if the school just says use a presentation program, he could use a Chromebook, and he could even use Google has a PowerPoint-like presentation program called Slides that's more than adequate for education. Many schools use it. But if the school says, no, it has to be PowerPoint, then you got to get them a Windows machine. Unfortunately. The problem, here's the reason I say unfortunately. Nothing wrong with Windows machines if you need a power tool, and it's absolutely a general-purpose power tool. But anytime you have a general-purpose computer, you open yourself up to the complexity of a general-purpose operating system, which includes security issues. You kind of have to become a security expert. Kids are notoriously bad at that. 11-year-old, I have a 14-year-old. I mean, that's what they do is they go out and, everybody's playing Five Nights with Freddy's, and everybody says, oh, there's this great fan-made version of it. It's over here at solidpixel.com, and he goes over there, and it says, click this link, and they click this link, and pretty soon his machine's loaded up with adware, and I have to go in and fix it all. So now what I've done to protect myself and to protect him is make sure he's not running as an administrator. He's just running as a limited user, because if he's running it as an administrator, then he can install anything. Yeah. If he's running as a limited user, that means somebody, usually mom or dad, has to come over and enter a password whenever, and so our 14-year-old Michael will say, I want to install this, and I'll go over and I'll have to look at the site and see if it's safe and all of that stuff. But I prefer to do, as inconvenient as it is for me, I prefer to do that than the even more inconvenient thing of removing malware. Plus, there's always the risk if he's on the home network and he gets malware in his system of infecting the whole network.
Yeah.
That's how ransomware often works. Ransomware comes in, it runs, and then it goes out on the network and looks for other machines, infects them all, encrypts them all. Dad's not going to be happy if suddenly he can't get to his data because Junior ran, a little program. So that's one problem. And also Windows breaks a lot. And that's kind of the nature of a general purpose operating system. It has to let you do more stuff. And when you do stuff, sometimes things go wrong. Drivers cause problems. I like to play virtual reality games on the HTC Vive and the Oculus Rift. That needs a very powerful Windows 10 PC, but I'm spending a lot of almost more time fixing it than I am playing games on it. Getting the latest drivers. It keeps crashing. It's just a pain. However, having said all that, it sounds like he needs a Windows PC. Do you have a budget?
As low as possible, but I was thinking I like a touch screen because I enjoy using my touch screen
Right.
on my laptop.
Touch makes a big difference, and I think for a kid especially, a touch screen is really nice.
How about an i5 7200 with an SSD?
Perfect. Where are you looking at that?
Oh, I noticed Lenovo has...
Lenovo's good. Lenovo makes some good stuff. I'm a Dell fan.
And Dell also.
Yep. I prefer Dell over Lenovo. Although Lenovo does some stuff like the Yoga that is more tablety, you can fold the screen around. Dell's more prosaic. Dell's more a business computer. It doesn't do all the fancy stuff. But yeah, either one would be fine. Dell's a little more expensive. The Dell I love is the XPS 13. But if you're going to get a touchscreen, that adds to the price, and I think that's that's over $1,000 at that point.
Yeah, I've seen some for about $700, and you keep looking, and there are even specials on that.
There are Black Friday sales still, and you may find a particularly good deal. Usually, if you go to the big box stores, the Costco's, they'll have year-old versions that are better priced, and they have a good return policy, which is nice. But you're getting a little bit older stuff for an 11-year-old. I don't think that matters at all.
How about Photoshop and Premiere?
Wow. How serious is this kid?
Oh, he is serious.
Wow. Well, in that case, I think you should get him a general purpose computer because, see, that's the thing is if the kid is really motivated and interested, well, it would be good if he learned Windows. Right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'll have FaceTime with him, and lowercase FaceTime.
Yeah, it won't be FaceTime. It'll be, oh, I see. In person? Wow,
Yeah,
how retro. So you live near enough by, you can come over.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
A couple hours anyway.
Perfect.
Good excuse.
I think the Lenovos are excellent. The Dells are excellent. I would look at Acer, ACER as well. All make low cost but high quality. HP has some really low cost Windows laptops that I don't really recommend. When you get down to $200 or $300, they scrimp so much on the components that it's just a recipe for disaster. You get what you pay for. I think somewhere in the $500, $600, $700 range is more practical.
Okay.
Maybe you can get mom and dad to chip in or something.
Yeah, that's what I hope.
You're a nice grandpa.
We try.
That's great, Paul. Yeah, and I think if a kid is at that age or any age is really interested in computers, don't hold back. Give him a full computer and say, look, you're going to have to learn how to use this.
Yep.
I don't have a problem with that. By the way, a little later on, Dells and Lenovos run Linux really well. Okay. If he gets really motivated. Hey, nice to talk to you. Happy holidays. That's a great gift. Really is, especially for a kid who's really into it. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. So yeah, there are some good deals out there if you shop around. That was fun. Yesterday we had Shirley who had never had a computer or smartphone. We had to help her shop. Wow, that was an interesting. I changed my mind a couple of times. First I said a Chromebook, and then she said she wanted to be able to talk to it and ask it questions. I thought, and she didn't have any internet. I said, So, yeah. Well, that's actually I thought maybe a smartphone is the right thing to do. Yeah. But then she didn't want to pay too much for a month, so I explained the smartphone would be around $50 a month minimum, and she didn't want to do that. So they made that a Twitbit. Megan said I should fly down and help her buy it. We should do a whole segment on it. Let's take the camera crew down. All right, we're going shopping with Shirley. That would be fun. There's this really good computer. This for some kids. We did a review of the Piper computer kit, and for some kids, this would be an interesting choice. If the PowerPoint throws me a little bit. This is good for Minecraft, though. So for $2.99, you build your own Raspberry Pi based computer, and it includes a screen and a keyboard and a mouse and some additional electronics stuff, so you can do more projects with it. It's kind of a really neat idea. I should mention that, really. It wouldn't be perfect for school because it's running Unix. It's running a Raspbian, which is a Raspberry Pi's version of Debian. And Raspberry Pi isn't a super powerful computer. But it does do Minecraft, and you could do programming as well, and they have some special stuff. In fact, you can integrate Minecraft with some electronics switches, which is pretty cool.
One of our sons built his own computer, and it was more fun for him just building.
Yeah, you mean like a PC from scratch? Yeah. How old was he when he did that?
15.
Yeah, that's a good project for a 15-year-old. Yeah.
And then he got it buddies, and they traded cases.
Yeah.
Working on a fan.
Yeah. See, I mean, I'm sure that Paul's grandson will be doing that in a couple of years if he's really interested. Minecraft is such a great way to start. Because it's Lego. It's really putting stuff together. So.
Music, so.
Oh yeah, my son really started getting into logic. So this is for kids 8 to 12, and we found Karsten, our producer, did it with his son Zach, who is 12, but his little brother did a lot more of the work because his little brother was actually more into it than he was, which is kind of cool. This is a really neat idea. You get all the pieces and you have to assemble it. It's one of those things, though. The kid. You have to know the kid's going to get into it because I could just see this just lying in pieces for like a year on the kitchen table, right? I could just totally see that happening. Like, I wouldn't give it to Michael because he loves Minecraft, but I don't see him doing this. It's actually interesting in schools. It's an interesting idea for a curriculum. So you do it with the teacher and other kids. I was thinking about Paul's question. Grandpa Paul wants to give his 11-year-old grandson a new computer for Christmas. And I don't know if this is right for that 11-year-old, but for certainly some 11-year-olds, I would recommend the Piper computer kit. This is a really neat idea. It was a Kickstarter project, PlayPiper, PIPER.com. And the idea is it's $2.99. It's not a super fast, fancy computer. It's a Raspberry Pi. Of course, the Raspberry Pi by itself is only $35, but it's a kit that includes the case, a screen, a keyboard, a mouse, and most interestingly to me, a bunch of switches and breadboards and buttons and knobs and dials that you can then use with the special software on the Raspberry Pi. So, and it's particularly based around Minecraft because everybody knows that's the sweet spot for 8 to 12-year-olds, right? Or even older. I like Minecraft, frankly. But they have these Piper Universe levels on the software. It's a Unix-based system based on Raspbian, the Raspberry Pi version of Linux. But you run the Minecraft, and then you can connect it to the switches and the electronic components that come with the kit to do things in the Minecraft universe. I think the first one many kids would do is what they call chain reaction, which is you build a building with TNT in it. That is one of the Minecraft blocks. Then you use your switches and buttons to blow it up. Now that's good stuff. Since you can't get a chemistry kit these days that blows things up, maybe this is the next best thing. I really like this idea. Now, you've got to know the kid because it's a kit. And a lot of schools are doing it. It'd be great for a school curriculum, I think. But it has to be assembled and put together and, probably if it's done at home, parental involvement or grandparental involvement is going to be critical to making this work. Because, if I got this for my kid, I could just see the pile of pieces sitting on the kitchen table for about 6 months, just nothing happening. It really, it requires some commitment not only from the kid but from the adults around the kid. But boy, what a neat idea for $2.99. It's a wooden case. The whole thing gets put together, and then you can do a lot. If you had a kid who was like really kind of like, I don't know, just had self-driven to take things apart, put things together, a little budding Bill Gates, this could be the gateway to your future. Forget retirement plans. Just get him one of these. 8888. Ask Leo the phone number. Let's go to South Dakota. Ron is on the line. Hi, Ron.
How you doing, sir?
I'm well. How are you?
Well, I've got a question that I have a dilemma. I'm going to be traveling, retired with disability, so I want to travel the United States in my RV.
How great.
And I want to have a Wi-Fi within my car,
right?
Which is a Ram truck, and or in the RV itself, the trailer.
So there are a couple of ways to do this. You'll see sometimes people driving around with RVs with satellite dishes on the roof. You can buy, Hughes, DirecTV, Wild Blue, and others. You can put dishes on the roof. You fold it down as you're driving, obviously. But when you get somewhere, you set it up, and you have to aim it. They have to be aimed to a particular part of the southern sky. So, and satellite internet's not the greatest. That was the only way to do it for a long time. Now, I think because of the general availability of high-speed internet from cellular companies in most of the country, that's probably the better way to do it. Maybe, not the cheapest way to do it, but there aren't that many choices. Even satellite's going to be kind of expensive. So you can buy, and every carrier sells these, MiFi cards. They're little, credit card-sized devices that pick up the internet from the LTE spectrum, from Verizon or T-Mobile or Sprint or whoever, and then act as Wi-Fi access points. And generally, these can attach 5 different devices, and it's kind of, it's a great way of getting internet in both your car and your RV, because you take when you park and you go back to the RV, you just take it with you, so it's always with you. Now, I also use something called a Karma Go, which is the same idea. It's sold by Karma, but it's at yourkarma.com. And the reason I use it is this has a pay-as-you-go feature. So it's a little more expensive. It's $15 for 10 gigabytes. Per gigabyte. $15 per gigabyte. But the idea is I don't have to pay a monthly fee for this. I just pay as I use the data. They have a subscription plan as well that goes down to more like $10 per gigabyte. So keep that in mind. I mean, $10 per gigabyte means you stream one Netflix movie, it's going to cost you $10. So that's true for most of these. Huh?
It was called YOUR what?
No, this is Karma, Karma Go, and it's at yourkarma, karma.com. But that's now this one uses Sprint as its carrier. So problem with Sprint is it's not quite as universally available as, say, Verizon or AT&T, both of which have better national networks. So kind of depends where you're going to go. You going everywhere in the country?
Yeah, from East and West Coast, but not all at one time.
Yeah. So you probably, if I would check with AT&T to see what they have and what the cost is. I think everybody's kind of settled on roughly $10 per gigabyte. That seems to be the going rate.
Okay.
So you think of that, how many, you might even now is a good time to kind of keep an eye on how many gigabytes you use. At home, I use 1,000 gigabytes a month, often, a terabyte a month. That means I would be paying $10,000 a month.
Wow.
It wouldn't be practical. But if what you want to do is email, occasionally surf the net, check maps, stuff like that, then we're talking 3 gigabytes, $30 a month. That's not so bad.
Okay. Do you know anything about like General Motors or Dodge Ram?
Some of these have them built in. My car does. pretty much work the same way. They use the LTE network, and you'll pay a monthly fee in general. Sometimes you get the first 6 months free or so forth.
Okay, is that better or practical?
It's the same. In fact, it's less practical because it's in the car. So if you get in the back in the RV, you're not going to necessarily get the signal because the car, pretty much shields that signal. So you can even do this, by the way, with a smartphone. A smartphone can act as a hotspot. So if you have a plan that's a good plan for you right now, you can, in most cases, you can turn on what they call a hotspot capability, which turns that smartphone into a Wi-Fi modem that you just get everywhere, right? So,
okay.
Yeah. So
thank you.
there are a lot of choices, and it's all coming around LTE. And as I said, it all ends up being around $10 a gigabyte. It'll be more if you don't do a subscription, because they figure, well, if he subscribes to 5 gigabytes a month and he only uses 3, we're making some, we're making a little extra. That's why Karma Go is $15 for the pay-as-you-go, because they don't get that extra little overage in there, right? And does anybody do rollover data? I don't think anymore. And nobody really does unlimited. They say unlimited. It's not. It's unlimited because we don't limit it. But if you get to a certain point, they're going to slow it down. T-Mobile, for instance, I think it goes up to 22 or 28 gigabytes a month, which is a lot for, I think, 70 or 80 bucks. That's what I have. But if you go over that limit, then they slow it down in molasses. Still unlimited, but you wouldn't want to use it. Some companies still do rollover. All right, AT&T, somebody's saying. T-Mobile. It just depends what you get. It depends what you get. And read the fine print. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. $22 gigabytes they throttle after, I guess. Okay. I never hit that limit. That's an awful lot. And I have Google Fi on the Pixel, and that's $10 per gigabyte just for whatever you use. 22 gigabytes is a lot. You'd have to go pretty far. Let me see what my usage is on this. Current period. Wow. What's the current period? Jeez, that can't be right. So this says I use 28.9 gigabytes in the current period with 11.4 roaming. This is probably since I came. This has been for months because I was in Europe months ago. So, I don't do any roaming now. Or do I? What the heck? I better clear that. Personal hotspot off. Current period. What is the current period? Yeah, that's what it is. This is since I got the iPhone 7 in September. That's what this is. Let me clear that. This is T-Mobile. Well, and the FCC has ruled that if it's throttled, it's not unlimited. That's unlimited implies full speed for any amount of data, but nobody will do that. How do I clear this? Maybe it's in usage? I don't know. No, I want to clear my, should be in cellular, right? Cellular data options, personal hotspot, current period. How do I clear? Maybe it's at the bottom. Reset statistics, there you go. Last reset, September 26th, 2015. What? I haven't had that phone, this phone that long. What? That's nuts. I got this September 2016. Reset my statistics. Thank you. All right. Okay, it's all reset now. A terabyte is a lot. You use 950 gigabytes. Well, you're close. 50 more and you'll be at a terabyte. So I'm not sure what happened with Comcast. We'll see. So I got the dreaded Comcast notice this month. I've never received it before saying you've used over a terabyte. Actually, it started you've used 90%. Then it said you've used a terabyte. Then it said you've used 125%. And then they said you get this notice you get 3 grace months, and if you do it more than 3 times, we're going to start charging you. So it must pull the stats from the backup, yeah. So I'll see if it's this month. What I think happened is I lent somebody my Comcast password. It was for a perfectly good cause. There was an event on election night, and they wanted to stream Showtime. And they had the AV guy, and I made the AV guy promise he wouldn't keep it just for that 2 hours. But I have a feeling... Yeah, I changed my password. As soon as I got that notice, I went, oh. But unfortunately, changing the password doesn't reset like all the other stuff to Showtime Anytime. Eventually it resets, but it might take a while. So we'll see what happens. It doesn't automatically knock it off, which would be nice. It's my fault. Hey, our show today brought to you by our friends at Quicken Loans. They, are the premier mortgage lending company in the country. But they have a new product for geeks like us. A loan, mortgage, home mortgage, or refi that you do completely online. I love this idea. So you go to quickenloans.com/techguy. There it is, Rocket Mortgage, they call it, because it brings the mortgage industry into the 21st century. It's fast. It's completely online. You don't have to go through old files or paperwork. You can submit your pay stubs and your bank statements and everything you need electronically with a touch of a finger. You can do it on your phone or your tablet as well as your computer. You don't even have to get up from the couch. And the nice thing is, because computers, they turn it around in minutes. You get your approval right away, and it's for a loan product that's tailored for your financial situation exactly. It's just a great way to do this. If you're looking to refi, if you're going to buy a home, check it out today. QuickenLoans.com/techguy for Rocket Mortgage. Rocket Mortgage, QuickenLoans.com/techguy. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org number 3030. Rocket Mortgage from Quicken Loans. Go to QuickenLoans.com/techguy. It almost makes me want to buy another house. Because we bought our house 3 years ago, and man, it took a long time. We applied for the loan, and then we went on a cruise, and we thought it'll be done. Couldn't possibly take more than 3 weeks. Poor Lisa was like trying to fax documents from the boat. It was crazy. It took us like 6 months. Anyway, next time, Rocket Mortgage. No, you know what they do, though, Ted Barker? You're going to like this. So at some point, unfortunately, because banking industry, you have documents. Rocket Mortgage sends somebody to your house, sends a notary to your house with all the documents. You do it all there. You don't have to, because you do have to sign the papers at the end. They do it all. They come to you. Love that. No more faxing. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888. Ask Leo. That's the phone number. Sue in San Diego's next. Hi, Sue.
Hi.
Hi. Hi. What's up?
Hi.
You don't sound happy, Sue.
I'm not happy. I got a brand new Dell Alienware computer.
Oh, you must be you're a hardcore gamer.
Well, I'm not a gamer, but I use it for CAD programs.
Oh.
I'm a designer.
Perfect, yeah.
And it has, everything on it. It has, we added an extra terabyte of memory. It's got everything that's making it fast.
Nice.
What is happening is I transferred all my programs and my data on with LapLink.
Oh, dear. Where did you find that?
Well,
I used to use that. It used to come in a box with a parallel cable, and you'd hook it up to the printer port of your old computer and your new computer. And is that how you did it?
No. This is called PC Mover.
Yeah.
And it's the newest one.
Yeah.
And you just hook up your computer with a USB between them.
Yeah.
And it moves everything over. And it took like 2 hours, and it moved everything onto the computer.
Yeah.
But what happened was, after I did that, it took a while for the computer to first boot up.
Yes.
And I thought maybe it was because everything was new and it had to digest it. But what's been happening is when I open my computer and I go in and the screen sees my face and it opens up, and then I have an internet security from Komodo that pops up on the screen. The screen is all...
Get rid of that immediately.
Really?
Oh, my God, yes.
Oh.
That thing's horrible.
It is?
Yeah. Immediately get rid of that. I mean, literally uninstall it, and you probably... A lot of times with security software, you can't uninstall it very well because otherwise the bad guy would just uninstall it.
Well,
so this is why I don't recommend this stuff. This is terrible. So then you should check with Komodo to see if they have a removal tool.
I did. And they removed it from the computer.
Nice.
We tried that.
Nice.
But even with that removed, what's happening is when the screen goes, after it sees my face and it opens up, the screen is black, and it takes 4 minutes for everything to pop up.
Well, my suggestion is never turn your computer off.
Yeah, right.
So
when I go into safe mode, it pops right open.
Yeah.
When I go into diagnostic mode, it pops right open.
Well, that's good. You're smart. You know, you're doing exactly the right thing. You're checking. So something's in there that's slowing things down. Right.
And I deleted everything that I didn't need on the start menu. I went into processes. We unchecked everything. I ran auto run, which gives me all the processes that are running. And I unchecked everything that didn't apply. And it's still, I've tried everything. I was on the phone with Microsoft because Dell was on the phone with me, and they were checking all my hardware, and they upgraded my BIOS, and they upgraded my graphics card, and the guy determined that it was Windows. So I called Microsoft, and we ran a Scan Now test, and we ran a DR.
Forget all this stuff, because this is all just stuff. They have a notebook, right? A loose leaf notebook. And it doesn't matter what your presenting symptom is. They start at page 1.
Okay.
And they work through it.
Right.
So it's not targeted at your problem. It's just this is what they do because they can't afford. They don't want to spend the money on somebody who actually can figure it out.
Right.
They just need somebody who can read a notebook.
Right.
So, well, if you think about it, now Alienware, this is good stuff, by the way. And Dell, if you pay for support from Dell, their gold support is good, but the kind of the free support is. And Microsoft's the same thing because they're not, they don't make any money on you. So your first mistake was LapLink. I'll be honest with you, because I think you probably brought stuff over you didn't need. Now you did it, I bet, because you don't have the install disks for some of your software. Is that right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's why I did.
That's the only reason to do that. Otherwise, what you really want, almost any time, whether you're installing a new operating system or buying a new computer, is a clean install of the operating system. You don't want to bring cruft over from the old version. And I think that's probably what's happened. You may be in what sometimes Microsoft calls, or people who use Microsoft Windows call DLL hell. When you copy old programs over, you copy all the libraries that they need, the dynamic linked libraries. But what happens sometimes is you get old versions of libraries and new versions of libraries on the same system. Oh, that's a nightmare. So there's, in other words, you've kind of got a bunch of sludge on your hard drive right now. If you could see your way clear to only installing the programs you need from a fresh install of Windows and only installing the programs you need, I bet you it would be fine.
Okay. I was trying to avoid that.
Yeah. So you did a diagnostic that was very valuable, which is you started it up in safe mode, and it started up instantly. What safe mode does, as you know, is it turns off, strips it down to the base stuff, the unnecessary drivers and stuff. It turns, it's ugly because it uses a VGA driver and so forth. So the problem is it turns off a lot of stuff. Something in there is part of it. One thing to look at, have you looked at the services menu?
Yes, I did, and I unchecked everything that I didn't need from that menu.
Because sometimes you have, an indexing service running in the background, things like that. Slow startup. It does start up and it runs normally once it starts up?
Yes. Once it starts up, it runs beautifully.
So there's something going on in that startup process. Is it a blank screen during that slow? Yeah.
Yes, it's dark and I can't even see what's happening.
Yeah. So that sounds to me like it's either running. So do you see, what do you see before it goes to that blank screen? Do you see loading Windows?
I don't.
Oh, you said Windows Hello. You get the Windows Hello login, right?
I get the Windows Hello login, and it goes to that. And when I had the Komodo security, that popped up on the screen.
I got it. So you are logging in before you get that blank screen.
Absolutely.
Okay. I've got an idea for you. Create a new account. Okay. So what's happening is you're logging in. It is now loading your user account, your workstation settings. Okay. And I'm guessing there's something in there, a database of settings, maybe your icon database. There's all sorts of things it has to load in. And I'm guessing there's something with some corrupted data, or it has to rebuild an index each time. And that would be why it doesn't display the desktop yet. It's churning on that. So one more diagnostic thing to do is to create a new user, fresh user, and log into that and see how the login goes on that.
Okay, that's a suggestion I didn't do yet. Yeah,
because, it's because of where you're getting the slowdown, the blank screen. You're getting it after Windows says, it's Sue. Let's load Sue's desktop and settings and icons and menus. And that's what's taking 4 minutes. So I think if we create a new user that's just got nothing, right? You don't have any settings yet. It's a base system. Right. I bet you, this would be my guess, that it pops up. And if that's the case, then throw out Sue, the old Sue, and move your, rejigger your setup for the new Sue. What you probably did is you copied over. What version of Windows was the old computer on?
10. It was upgraded from 7 to 10.
Okay. But something got corrupted, my guess is, in the copying of the old settings. So I'm almost positive this will work, Sue. At least it's something you haven't tried yet. And you've tried a lot of stuff. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. It's interesting that after 4 minutes... Hi, Sue. It's interesting. We had to go to commercial, but I'm still here, and we're in the podcast version of the show.
I have a question for you. How do I, when I go into as a new user, so that would...
You'll have to... I presume you have... Your main account is an admin account, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you'll log in, and you'll do the 4-minute wait. And you'll be in your desktop. Now go in, because you're administrator, go into the settings and create a new user. And you can make it an administrative user. That's fine.
Okay.
And then reboot into that user. And I'm crossing my fingers that fixes it.
Okay.
If it doesn't, Sue, then that means it's something that's common to all users. But it's almost certainly it's something that loads after you log in, but before the desktop loads, right? So that could be the index of all your files. It's something, and what it is that there's some database that's corrupted. Probably the permissions are damaged on it, because otherwise you'd only have to do that once and it would fix the corrupted database, write the new database, and everything would be fine. It probably can't write. This is very common when you use these kinds of PC file transfer, laplink kind of thing. You copy stuff, and sometimes during the copy there's data damage, a bit is flipped, or the permissions are flipped. And if you get both, then you've got a corrupt, let's say icon database. The machine says, I can't read this, rebuilds it, meanwhile not showing you anything. Tries to save it, can't. It's still in memory as long as you're continuing to work. But then when you reboot, the same thing happens again.
I had that feeling that it was the corrupt icons. I just had that feeling.
It's something like that, yeah.
My question is, if I do that and I go and I sign in as a different user, will that wipe all my programs off and then I have to reinstall them?
Your programs are installed for all users.
Okay.
And you can install a program. You notice sometimes when you install a program, it says, would you like to install this for all users, just you? But generally speaking, they're installed for all users. I would be surprised, given the way you move the stuff over, if it didn't work for everybody. But at the very least, so you should have access to everything. When you launch the program, though, it won't remember any of the previous settings. It'll be as if you just installed it. And remember, now, to not only create that new user, but reboot. You want to not just log out of the old user, but reboot.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I will do that.
Yeah. It's something. I can't tell exactly what it is, but you've got the idea, because. Yeah. It's because it won't show the screen until it's done doing whatever it's got to do.
Exactly. Yeah. That's exactly right.
Yeah. It feels like that. So I think creating a new account would be, and this is why those notebook people aren't very helpful. Because, you talked to me for 5 minutes and we thought about it and we did some logic and we said, well, try this. They never got to that point because it wasn't in the notebook.
Right. I know that. Many, many times when I'm on the phone with them, I'm better. I'm better than they are.
Right.
And they always say, oh, you know so much. Well, I know more than they know.
Remember, most of the people who call know nothing, so you're ahead of the game. The only reason I call tech support, the usual the one thing tech support sometimes knows is if it's a common problem. Like, oh yeah, we've been getting a lot of calls about that. That's what you're looking for, is that kind of information. Because if all they go is, well, I don't know what's wrong, but let's start at page 1. And you know what page 1 is. There's so as soon as you start hearing go through that, you say, yeah, I've tried all that. I'll call back later. But what you're really looking for is them to say, oh, we have a bulletin on that. Or, yeah, I've been getting a lot of calls this week about that. Because that's the information you really need. Tech support is usually not as good as you are. That's the real truth of it. And I think you clearly get what the issue is, right? And so I think that you're really on. You're on to something.
That does make, so it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
So I want to. I'm in settings and I'm on my regular administrator account, and I don't see where it says add an account or change it. It just says email and app accounts, sign-in options, access work or school.
Yeah, I just love how Microsoft has decided that we need 2 different control panels. One that does everything you want to do, and one that just looks dumb and has some very primitive things. Let me fire up my Windows 10 machine. I can see if I can figure out where it is that you need to go. Okay. Hello, it's me. Hello, I'm here. Hello, computer. Okay, there we go. So I always do Windows I to get to settings, and then you go to accounts. And you're right. It doesn't say, does it? Isn't that ridiculous?
It's probably it says add a family member.
No. We don't want to do that. This is the new control panel. What we want is the old school control panel. Do we have to do, I think we might even have to do the old control, what was it, user passwords 2, is that it? Yeah, control user passwords 2. Let's see if that works. No, it's binging me. Let me do Alt-R control user passwords 2. This is a weird thing. Yeah. So you want the old-fashioned control panel, the one that works? You hit Windows key R to get the run box.
Right.
And you type control.
Right.
Space all one word, user passwords 2.
Control
space user passwords 2. And the number 2. And what that does is launch the super secret, only professionals should ever use this control panel that lets you add a new user.
And the number 2 or?
The number 2.
The number 2. Control.
Space, user passwords 2. Yeah, after you do Windows R.
Coming up at the top is run. No.
No. Windows R first.
Oh, Windows R.
Yeah, because that lets you get the run dialog. And then it says type the name of the program, folder, document, or internet resource, and Windows will open it for you. And then when it says open, you say in that box you type control space user passwords 2.
Okay, hold on. I'm writing this down. Control and then space
user passwords 2.
User passwords 2.
The number 2. And then you're going to get the user accounts control panel. There's got to be an easier way to get to this. But this is how I know how to do it. And then in the user accounts control panel, there's an add button that lets you add a new user.
Okay. All right. I got it.
It's crazy. Thank you, Windows.
This is crazy.
If you'll hang on, there'll be a survey after the call, and I'll hope you rate me 5 stars, okay?
I will.
Thank you, Sue. I got to run.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Thank you very much.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy, doing the tech support thing at 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number, 888-827-5536. Yeah, we do a little tech support. We talk about what's going on in the world of technology, how it's changing, how, most importantly, it's changing your life, our lives, the world around us, the jobs we can get, the jobs that are available to us, how we play, how we work, how we worship, everything, right? How we communicate, most importantly. That's changed dramatically. And that's the kind of the meat of this meal, the stuff we chow down on. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number. 8888 Ask Leo. There's a good website, and I'm going to put in the show notes for Sue, our previous caller, kind of the steps to take to create a new user on Windows 10, because it's apparently not as easy as it used to be. But we'll put that on the website. The show notes are a great resource. If I do say so myself, a great resource, because this is episode 1346, so we pretty much covered every topic there is out there, often more than once. You can go there for free. There's no sign-up required. We have every episode, every question, every answer, every segment, every link, most importantly. And after the fact, we put the audio and the video of the show up on the website. So remember this is all you need, techguylabs.com, techguylabs.com. And if you have a comment, you can leave that there. Now, we do make you kind of sign up for comments. We make it as easy as possible. You can use your Facebook or Google account or Twitter account, whatever, and that's just to prevent spamming, because you know how spammers are with comments. They'll just put stuff, ads for Rolexes and stuff in there, and we don't want that. So you do have to do that. But I am going to put the weird steps required to add a new user. I can't believe that that's actually the only way to do it. The control, where you hit all, or rather Windows R, and you type control space user passwords too. You know that method? A, I'm stunned that it still works in Windows 10, because we used to do that in Windows XP. And B, it frosts me a little bit that Microsoft, in their infinite wisdom, decided to give us two different control panels in Windows 10. Like, there's one for normal people that's really easy but doesn't do anything. And then they kind of hide away the real control panel, like the old days control panel where you do the stuff that you want to do. That's hidden away. And why two control panels? But they have two browsers too. They've got the Edge browser for normal people, and then if you really want to do anything, the Internet Explorer browser, that's still there. They just hide it. I think some of this is because it's an old operating system. I know Windows 10, the newest hotness, but really it is frankly an old operating system. And Microsoft, unlike some other companies, doesn't ever throw anything away. So what you really have is a house that's got fresh paint. Maybe we remodeled the kitchen, but if you really look around in the basement and the attic, all the stuff that was there before is still there. and maybe the wiring is maybe it's more like knob and tube wiring than actual modern wiring, that kind of thing. But you wouldn't know unless you actually looked in the wall and then you said, wait a minute, what is that? Is that horsehair in the plaster on the wall there? What is that? It's an old operating system. You wouldn't expect them to start from scratch each time. They're not going to do that. So they take the old stuff and they paint it over and they spruce it up. But you kind of don't really want to look under the floorboards because it's just a mess down there. 8888 Ask Leo. But this is why, you see, sometimes having a tech guy who's been around for a few years. I started doing this show. We didn't call it the Tech Guy Show, but I started doing the computer call-in radio show when it was Windows 3.0. Windows 3.0. So I have seen a few things. I've seen under the floorboards. I've been to the attic, and I've returned to tell the tale. Ken and Merced, Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Hi, Ken.
Oh, hi, Leo.
How are you?
I'm doing well. I know you're doing well. Right?
I am doing great. I have the best job in the world. Pulling up floorboards. Looking under the linoleum. What can I do for you today?
Oh, I was going to mention something about that woman yesterday with the track phone.
Shirley, yes.
Yeah. If she could go to like a senior center or a library or something and have them call, a track phone on their computer. I bought, just so I could use my Ring doorbell, I bought a Samsung Galaxy.
Yeah, because the Ring doorbell wants Wi-Fi, because that's how it lets you know, when you're not at home, who's ringing your doorbell. Yeah. So you use just like you leave at home, you leave an old Galaxy phone?
Well, yeah.
As a hotspot. As a hotspot.
Well, but you can use it anywhere, but it's a track phone, and you can take it with you.
But you wouldn't want to, because then your Ring doorbell would stop working. Right? Oh, you use it to get the Ring, not to, because you have Wi-Fi at home. I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
Yeah.
I thought you didn't have Wi-Fi at home, and since I don't have Wi-Fi at home, I'm just going to buy an old phone.
Galaxy phone.
Yeah.
Sure. She can get a newer phone.
I agree. In fact,
it cost me $80.
We had some, I went back and forth with Shirley. At first, you heard me say Chromebook, and then she kind of said, but I want to talk to it. And what she really liked was that she had gone into some store and asked how many cups in a pint or something, and the woman talked to her phone. And she really liked that,
But she can do that on a track phone.
She could do it on any phone, smartphone, right. So you're right. I think maybe I was overdoing it. The problem is she didn't want to pay the monthly fee. With the track phone, what is the cost for data on a track phone?
Looks like there's a problem.
Uh-oh. Anyway, it's...
Oh.
My phone said looks like there's a problem.
You get however many minutes.
Okay, but that's phone minutes, not data. She needs data.
Well, you get both.
Okay. All right, yeah. She was a little nervous about the monthly fee from a phone, and I quoted her around $50 a month. But if it's less than that, then that's a good way to go. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, also I have 4 of them, and basically, this looks odd. I'm watching you on a Chromebook.
Oh, and it looks odd, does it? No, that's me. That's how I look.
No, it's just worse than the dubbing on a.
The lip sync is off, eh?
Movie.
Yeah. People don't realize this, but I actually do the show in Japanese, and then there's a guy in the U.S. who does simultaneous translation. So there's a little lag. What can I do for you today?
So anyway, yeah, the reason I actually called was I have an Acer running Windows 7.
Yeah.
That the hard drive was starting to make some noise and whatnot, and anyway. Basically, I slapped it to death.
You hit it?
You
hit it? You hit your computer?
Oh, I agree.
Actually, I've been told that some military manuals do have in the manual, on some devices, it is recommended that you slug them mildly. Maybe take one of those rubber hammers, upholstery hammer, and tap it. Because sometimes stuff gets stuck. Yeah. But in this case, it didn't work. You killed it.
Well, not really. I can start it in safe mode. So right now I have it started up in safe mode with command prompt.
So let me get this straight. You had a computer. You beat it up. Like literally.
I only slapped it.
You slapped it around. And now it only works right in safe mode.
Yeah, I can't. There's some of the other stuff that doesn't come up, but at least I've got it coming up in command prompt.
No, I have. You shook something loose. I have no idea. I think you know what caused it. What it is, I don't know. It could have something shook loose. I don't know. Oh, Lord above. I cannot condone beating your PC. Okay? I'm just going to say that right now. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Some military manuals says Mick. And by the way, I ask people this all the time, and everybody denies it, but Mick knows the truth. Some military manuals say, quote, rub the side of the monitor, while in other places it says, smack it smartly. Yeah, generally speaking, you do not want to steam clean your computer. I think that's a bad idea. I did, Roberto. Thank you. That was very nice. The Apple III. Oh, yeah, the Apple III you had to drop. So that was an interesting story because the Apple III had, I think it was memory chips. You remember in those days, you would get the circuit board would have holes. And the memory chips were like spiders, with 16 pins. And that's how you'd add memory. You'd drop them in, right? You remember that? You push them in. But the Apple III would heat, and the pins and the chips would work their way up. And they'd lose connection. So the actual trick was to pick up the computer and drop it. Literally drop it. Because the Apple III didn't have any fans or vents. Apple recommended users facing problems with the Apple III lift the computer 2 inches and drop it, as this would set the circuits back in place. The Apple III, of course, was a horrible computer that almost put Apple out of business, frankly. Dan Kotke says at one point, he picked up his Apple III and slammed it down on the desk out of frustration. To his surprise, the computer jumped back to life. Oh, Lord. Oh, dear. Oh, dear, oh, dear, oh, dear. What a computer. This was the one that the floppy they designed, or was it the Lisa? They designed the floppy for it. It was, of course, Apple wouldn't use a standard floppy. And the hole on the, how floppies had a Tyvek cover, a sleeve covering the spinning magnetic material, and there was a hole. And usually on real floppies, normal floppies, the hole was on the far side. But Apple designed theirs with a hole on the side where you hold the disk to put it in. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888. Ask Leo. That's the phone number. Hutch is on the line from Irvine, California. Hey, Hutch.
Good morning, Leo.
Good morning. Welcome.
Thank you. The guru extraordinaire.
Okay, I'll take it. If you lay it down, I'll pick it up.
You deserve it.
Thank you, sir.
Ever since Windows 3.
I do. We have fun. I have to say, the nice thing about this business is it changes like crazy, right? Imagine the changes that have happened since I started doing this show in the early 90s. We were DOS 5, Windows 3. We're Windows 10 now. What can I do for you?
Well, let's go back a little ways. I have a Toshiba television, probably invented before God created dirt.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do OTA, and so I bought an LG recorder.
Okay.
And hooked up an antenna to it.
All right.
And everything was working fine.
Yeah. So the problem is those old TVs had analog tuners, and all the TV stations, almost all the TV stations now are digital.
Correct.
So you did the right thing. You got a digital tuner basically, and hooked the antenna up to that, and then hooked that up to the TV.
Right. And my biggest problem was that I had one remote for the television and another one for the LG box.
Right. Unfortunately, that's the side effect of that. Yeah.
Since I have an Android smartphone by Samsung, they have what they call Peel Smart Remote.
Yes, Peel is good. Yeah, I'm familiar with the Peel. Yeah.
Okay, so basically it's supposed to allow me to throw away my two remotes and just use my smartphone.
Yeah.
So I hooked it up, and everything turned on fine. I changed channels, no problem. And then for some reason I tried to change channels again, and all of a sudden the television went to the Chicago snow.
Okay, so the way the remote works is it uses, and not all phones can do this, but some phones have infrared senders. So you have a phone, clearly it worked once, so you have a phone that sends the signal.
Yes.
And then the way you program the software is you tell it what you've got, and it knows the appropriate codes, because every device, every TV, every set-top box, all of these have different codes. So it has to know, what infrared code to send out to the receiver. It sounds like, especially with the old Toshiba, did it know the Toshiba make and model? Was it?
It did.
It did. Wow.
I had to input it, but yes.
Okay. So when you it sounds like when you watch your LG receiver, do you have to set your TV to channel 3?
Yes.
Okay. So it sounds like it changed it to channel 2 or channel 4. In other words, it moved it off channel 3.
Okay.
That's why you see snow. So the question is why it did that. Maybe it was a stray touch on the peels on the screen, but maybe the codes are wrong. I've seen that happen with universal remotes. I think the peel is great. I mean, I really, it's P-double-E-L, by the way. It's like a orange peel, and I think it's great. I've used it on some Samsung phones that worked, and it's quite clever. And it has the advantage you don't have to go out and buy a fancy universal remote, a Harmony universal remote or something like that. But I'm wondering if the programming is a little bit off. If you change the channel back on the Toshiba channel to channel 3, does everything work okay?
No.
It's now broken. So you can't get it working at all.
No. So I wasn't sure now. Is it the Peel that's a problem? Is it the Toshiba TV? Or is it the set-top box?
God, it was all working, right?
No, it was all just doing fine.
How frustrating is that?
I could tell you how frustrating it is, but
you didn't beat up your computer, did you? Wow. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what happened. If it just changed it to channel 2, that you'd get that same thing.
Right.
And then but if you change it back to channel 3, you should get it again. Boy, I don't know what happened. So you kind of walked through the setup as you did the first time with the LG and the Toshiba, and the antenna's plugged in and everything, and it's still not working.
Yep. And I actually stopped using the Peel, thinking, well, maybe I could just do it manually by going back to the TV and turning it on and trying to reset it like it was brand new.
So I'm looking at the chat room. They have some thoughts. The Peel might have done something unexpected, like change the LG tuner to some other setting, or perhaps it changed the TV source, or, some of these remotes will scan for available channels so that you can't change to a channel that doesn't exist. Mm-hmm. Maybe the Peel accidentally sent that command to the LG and the LG scanned. Maybe something like that happened. That's kind of the only thing we can think of here. So that it could be, in other words, it could be related to a stray command from the Peel. I wish you could kind of go back to 0 and walk through that whole setup again. I feel like that's where the deal is. I just don't know. You want the TV to stay on channel 3. Sometimes there's a switch on the back. Maybe look there. Make sure that everything's connected properly. I can't tell you because I just can't tell. Don't know. But I don't think the Peel did it in particular. I've used it. I love it. It's a good remote system. PEEL.com. It works on a variety of phones, but your phone has to support infrared. Website, techguylabs.com. Phone number 8888 Ask Leo. We're going to get a little digital photography advice in a moment. Digital photography guru Chris Marquardt coming up as the Tech Guy continues. Our show today brought to you by Epson, makers of the amazing Epson EcoTank printers. Epson EcoTank printers come with the ink in the box, which is so awesome. They come loaded and ready to print with up to 2 years of ink in the box. We love our EcoTanks, and I say EcoTanks because I got 2 of them, one at home and one here at work. Lisa has one in her office. And it was so easy to set up. We got the printer, and we got the ET4550. That's the one right there on the front. It's an all-in-one, so it's an office printer, but they have a variety of EcoTank printers now. This has been such a success, they're putting out printers for all possible uses. But let me show you the one I know, which is the ET4550. Let me see if I can find it here. Is this it? Yeah. So because it's a workforce printer, it has the precision core. That's the engine that prints 40 million dots per second, so you get super crisp black and white text. You get vivid colors. You get all the benefits of, the all-in-one, the 30-page document feeder, 150-page capacity. The touch screen LCD makes it very easy to configure. And it does automatic two-sided printing, which saves me a lot in paper. But see that thing on the side there? That's the tank. So when you get it, instead of putting the cartridges in, it's cartridge-free printing. You have little bottles of ink, which you put in the tank. Enough ink to print 11,000 black and white pages or 8,500 color pages. 2 years worth. And when you got to go buy more ink in 2019, I can't believe that. 2019, you'll get the bottles, and they're up to 80% less. They're low cost. They even have big work group printers they use packs that go even far. I think 20,000 pages. Every EcoTank printer delivers an unbeatable combination of convenience and value. With Epson's EcoTank line of printers, you have the freedom to print without running out of ink. No surprise, they got the CES 2016 Innovation Award. They got the 2016 Small Biz Windows Printer of the Year Award. Go to Epson.com/EcoTank today to transform the way your home, your office, or your work group prints for the best combination of ease and value. Turn to the Epson EcoTank printers. So this is the new one, the 16500. Wow. I love these printers. EPSON.com/EcoTank. We thank them so much for their support of the Tech Guy podcast. This is the big boy. 20,000 pages between ink reloads. Epson.com/EcoTank. Hello, Chris Marquardt.
Hello, Leo. How are you?
I am great. Looks good. All is well. What do you want to do? Are we doing a review today, or?
No, Review Square is next week.
Square is next week.
One more quick tip regarding sorting your photos, workflow kind of stuff.
All righty. All righty. So,
any new cameras?
No. No. I'm
too bad.
done buying new cameras for the month.
Okay.
I'm still
Not just
waiting
the
for
month,
my
okay.
24-105 lens, though. They haven't released that yet.
The Mark II? Yeah.
December 8th, they released that. That'll be my I think my go-to lens.
Oh, it's the best all-rounder.
Yeah.
It is just even the Mark I is amazing. So.
Well, I used the kit lens. What was it, 2470 for a long time.
Oh, which is cool too.
Yeah. So here apparently is a demonstration.
Want to see a wonderful lens?
Ooh. What is that? Is that a pinhole? What is that?
No, that's a Russian Indostar 50.
Oh, how funny.
It's a tiny little
I bet it looks
pancake lens with an
terrible.
adapter.
All right, we take you now to D-Day.
Takes interesting
In
pictures.
the battlefield.
Oh,
What's the matter, lad? Engine won't start, sir. Full of seawater, I think. My old grandmother used to say, anything mechanical, give it a good bash. Right now. Thank you, sir. Off you go.
And there you go. There you have it. Anything mechanical, give it a good bash.
given the amount of times I dropped my old 5D Mark II, it's kind of a miracle that it's still alive.
And he has, what does he have? He has like a shillelagh or a walking stick or something, and whack. That is funny. That is very funny. Percussive maintenance. Percussive maintenance.
Isn't that the technical term?
I think so. Chumley says that, and that rings a bell with me, yeah. Percussive maintenance. All right, and we're going to do a superpower?
It's a superpower.
Superpower.
Yeah. It's a superpower. And a little pro tip at the end. I have this, I told you about this 1 hour, 1,000 pictures ebook.
Ah.
I made this free now.
Nice.
For people to download.
Aren't you the nicest guy ever?
Well, I want their email addresses, though.
Well, you should get something.
It's a trade.
What are you going to do with those email addresses?
Oh, I'll probably spam them daily. No, I'm not. No, I have a little newsletter. It's my monthly link loot.
Everybody agrees that's the best way to stay in touch with people. I read so many blogs and things, so I put this in a little email newsletter once a month. I haven't blogged since July. I really ought to write a post. I was just looking at my blog.
That helps.
But I'm on the air all the time. All right, here we go. Chris Marquardt is here. He shares his photo knowledge with us every week at this time. Helps us become better digital photographers. Hi, Chris.
I'll do my best, digital and non-digital. There are still a few left to shoot with film.
And Chris has a great book for people who want to shoot with film. I love that book. It's a beautiful book. If you go to discoverthetopfloor.com, you can find out more about his film book. But I think most people listening, I'm sorry to say, are probably digital.
Probably right. And I mean, the one thing that digital brings us is a lot of pictures compared to the good old days with film.
Well, briefly, I flirted with film. You convinced me. I got a couple of film cameras and shot a couple of rolls. And it was such a. I know this is the point, but it just took so long.
It slows you down.
It really slowed me down. And I love, I was at the Veterans Day Parade a couple of weeks ago in Petaluma with my new camera and shot, I think, 400 or 500 shots. And admittedly, I only got one good picture, but at least I got one good picture out of that, right? So, what is your ratio, by the way?
Proud of it, right?
Yeah, I'm very proud of it. One picture.
Oh, the ratio. The infamous ratio. Depending on what I shoot, if I shoot for a client, it's probably 10% of what I shoot that I will deliver.
That's good.
If it's for my own portfolio, like the best of the best of the best that I would put in a gallery, that's maybe 0.1%.
Yeah.
So it really kind of changes depending on who I shoot for and how I approach things.
Yeah.
But one of the side effects of going digital is that we shoot more pictures. So I want to briefly talk about organizing this stuff because it becomes more and more important to keep a bit of an organization there. And if you look at today's photo tools like Google Photos or Apple Photos app, they do a lot for us now, right? They will tag things automatically if you go into, I have an iPhone here, so if I go into the Photos app and I tap the little magnifier glass and I search for I don't know, I put the word cat in there, it'll find cats. I don't have to tag them photos, it will find them for me. So it will do something for me, but sometimes I need to sort the good from the bad photos. I mean, just imagine you've...
Wish Google would do that.
Well, they're trying. You'd be surprised. There are a few apps out there that actually claim they use artificial intelligence and they can tell you which photos are good.
Well, they can tell which are
bad.
out of focus, and assuming that out of focus is bad, I guess.
Yeah, they try to go a bit further than that, but they're usually not too bright in that respect. So I'm not going to name any names now. But yeah, sometimes, I mean, just imagine you shot a family event and you took 200 photos and you only want to send the good ones to the rest of the family, or you shot a wedding, maybe not as the main photographer, but as kind of a on the sidelines or some event with your children, then you want those 10% of the photos that you want to send. You don't want to send out all 200 photos. That'll be boring for people. So pick the good ones. And I don't really want to prescribe a system because everyone should have their own system. But it's important to have a kind of a system and to go by it because that's a lifesaver.
This is such a universal issue for photographers that
it is.
Every time I meet photographers, and I think that others do this too, we say, well, what's your workflow? How do you do it? Because I'm always looking for a better way to do it.
So yeah, and as a professional, when I use Lightroom, I do have a very strict workflow that I really stick to. But that's not for here. I mean, I just wanted to talk about a few things, a few ways you can organize your photos. And most of the apps, be it Google Photos or be it Apple Photos, that comes with your system or that's easy to get to. Most of them have a few ways to organize your photos. And the first line of defense is always the album. If you just import your photos into this huge big bucket, which you can do with all of them, then you will sooner or later, probably sooner, start to lose track of things. And if you then need to find something back from 2 years ago, a birthday party or something, it's going to be hard to find that. So having albums for different events, first line of defense, it's really simple with most of these apps. You just go to File, create an album, drag and drop pictures in there, and you got it. And I do this for events. I do this for things that kind of go together, like a wedding, like a birthday party, something like that, where I know that these photos belong together. So I put them in an album and they stay there. And that's a kind of a manually sorted thing there.
You can often do that in a kind of a quick way by date. So most programs will let you sort your photos by date. And as long as your camera or your smartphone is adding the date to your photo, you say, I want all the pictures I took on September 17th, and then drag them into an album with the name so you know what that thing is.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And I think with most of these tools, I mean, here in Apple Photos, I mark 5 pictures. I go to File, New Album, and it presents me with a name that tries to deduct where this comes from and puts a date on it. So it's already there. Right. Second line of defense is keywords. Keywords are so essential. And I mean, you don't really have to go very deep there because most of these apps now do facial recognition. So if you hinted that that's the name of that person for a few times, then it will keep on recognizing that person. And you will find that automatically. Again, the auto tagging that I talked about earlier, if you go into the search function in most of the photo apps nowadays, you can type in house or cat or dog, and it will find most of the photos that have something like that in them. Or location information. Most modern cameras have a GPS now, or at least they're starting to get it. Smartphones do have it. So locations is already there. But one thing that I will put in the keywords is the name of the event that I shot this at. Like that's
birthday. A good idea.
Amy's birthday, something like that.
That's a good idea.
Or walk on the beach, or you name it. That is really helpful because yes, you can go by date, and because the date is already in there, right? It's easy to find by date, but the date, when was that birthday party? Was it the 2016? Was it in June, July? Well, with the birthday, you will probably know, but the walk on the beach, maybe not so.
Right.
It's getting harder to find. So that's kind of just a few very simple ways to get started with organizing photos. And then I don't really want to put a lot of effort in it. I'm lazy, so I want to keep this as simple as possible. And with the auto tagging features, just the name of the event, just an album. That's a simple thing. Every time I import a bunch of photos, I will just put them in an album, put the keywords on them. By the way, with most apps, you can, if you don't see the keywords right away, just mark the photos and then press either Command-I on a Mac or Control-I for information. That usually brings up a panel with a little bit of additional information, and that's usually where you can enter some additional information, like keywords, for example. I do this on the professional side too, by the way, but a bit more complicated, a bit more convoluted, but I kind of need to be able to go back really within minutes to pictures that have been taken 10 years ago, for example. So I don't even know, 3, 4, 5 years ago, I wrote a little ebook that suggests a workflow for Lightroom, which I did sell. It's called 1 Hour 1,000 Pictures, which 1 Hour 1,000 Pics. I just made this free, so if anyone wants to download it, it's at 1hour1000pics.com, and all you have to do is drop an email in the hat and you get the free ebook.
Very nice. Chris Marquardt, go to discoverthetopfloor.com to find that. Nice. I think I already have that, but if not, I'm going to download it. Because I need your advice.
I mean, it takes a bit of time. That's a real workflow that really kind of it's a 3-step, a three phase system pretty much, where you first go over all the pictures and do kind of a very broad filter, and then you filter them down, and in the end you end up with maybe those 10%, and it's really fast, it's really quick.
So while you were doing that, I said, so I entered into Google Photos 11/11/2016, and it found all my Veterans Day photos. And then awesome. I pressed the plus button to
you had an album.
Add all those to the album, and then it says you can only add 500 photos to a new album.
What?
And I have 949, so maybe I'll have to prune out a few of the...
I don't think you are the right target audience for Google Photos.
500 album photos, come on.
Or maybe here's a trick. You have this high speed rapid fire setting on your camera.
That's the problem.
Set that to slow.
Yes, that's the problem.
That will fix probably half of those pictures.
The new Mark IV is 7 per second, and every time I turn that on, it's like.
I switched mine to.
Yeah, that's
slow
better.
One because I keep firing away 2-3 shots without even wanting to.
It's too easy to do that. Yeah. Nice tip, and I'm going to go download that. And Discover This Top Floor. I hope will work, right?
Do I have a link there? It's probably a bit hard to find. 1 Hour 1,000 Pics.
Oh shoot!
I'll put it on Discover the Top Floor.
I would, because that's where people are going to go for you, and you want people to go there because that's where you advertise all your stuff.
I just added a new one, by the way.
Oh,
There's a Ireland 2018 with a Game of Thrones extension.
Oh, fun!
There are 2 shooting locations. The Dark Hedges. Click on that Game of Thrones. Click on that Ireland 2018 link. What a wonderful place! The Dark Hedges.
Nice.
Beautiful.
What fun! Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888, ask Leo, the phone number. Chris said he hasn't put the link up yet on his website, Discover the Top Floor, but he will for getting that 1,000 photos in 1 hour, the Lightroom workflow book that he's giving away. And we'll also, Chris, have a direct link for it at our show notes, techguylabs.com. Back to the phones we go. Vicky is in Rialto, California. Hi, Vicky.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm okay.
Well, what can I do for you?
Well, I've got several questions. My grandson is turning 11 3 days after Christmas, and he's...
Although that's the worst birthday, isn't it?
He was 40, but not 11, because now he knows everything, and he lets me know that. Anyhow, he's into Minecraft, and
of course.
I saw some classes online, and my daughter signed him if it was out at Cal State San Bernardino, and it was. I think it's called Scratch or something.
Yeah, Scratch is awesome.
and modding. And, and he's wanting to do Roblox Lumber Tycoon.
Wow.
On a computer. He was using his mother's new Dell, and her Dell went out. They sent her a new hard drive, which they told her to install. She paid someone else because she was a little unsure about that.
Yeah.
And it went out after a month, and she called and they said, sorry, you're out of warranty.
Oh, why I oughta. Well, no more Dells, huh?
Yeah, and she called and they say, sorry, that's it. You know, and I mean, it was just a year old. It was 1 month over a year old because she had the hard drive, and they said, sorry, it's bad. Well, they sent it to her, and I think it would work more than 2 months. But so I don't know what we can do, you know.
Well, I mean, probably this is their policy, so it's going to be hard to overturn it. But you could almost always pursue these kinds of things by writing to the president or chairman of the company. In this case, Michael Dell himself. And Michael has, as many CEOs, especially of tech companies, have an office of the executive that is there for one thing and one thing only, to answer these kinds of consumer complaints. And I think you have a case. This is your replacement drive that died.
Yeah.
And so that should be.
How do they afford that? You know?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. So.
Well, that's the computer he was using, so we don't really have a computer now. And when she was talking in class and stuff, they said the refresh rate was an issue when you're trying to do, I guess.
I wouldn't worry about refresh rate.
I don't know. This was just the college, so I wanted to find out what kind of computer, and we don't want a Dell again. I mean, everybody said, oh, Dell's the best, get this, the sales.
It is, and usually they're good, but this is true of all of these tech companies. They're required to do a year in some states, so they give you a year. But at the day after, day 366, that's it. Yeah. And they expect you to at least chip in, if not fully pay for any repairs. Now, I'll be honest with you. A new hard drive for that computer is under $100. Easy.
Okay.
You could, the real issue is doing it yourself, but you already did it yourself once. Hard drives cost nothing.
You paid to have someone do it.
I understand, and she could do it, honestly. It's not a laptop, is it?
Yes.
Oh, it's a little more complicated. But it's been done, which means you can upgrade a hard drive in that laptop. A new laptop hard drive would be $70.
Okay, and where would you get that?
Any Amazon, any old place. They're all over the place. Hard drives are cheap and plentiful. Any computer store will sell them. You know what you might do is, I don't know if there's a Fry's near you or a computer store near you. There used to be computer stores. There aren't anymore, but Fry's is still around.
Jackson and Staples and Dell.
Yeah. Go and say, I want to buy a drive and have you install it, and see what the bundle would cost. It shouldn't be too expensive.
Okay.
You can go to Staples, you can go to Costco. All of them sell hard drives cheap. You want an internal laptop hard drive. That's a standard. Yeah. That's an easy thing to fix. But okay, so Geek Squad, which is Best Buy, charges $50 to install the drive.
Okay.
So just bring it in, say install the drive. Now you're going to lose everything on that drive.
Well, that's okay.
She needs Windows. She needs a Windows disk to install it.
We don't have that because it came with the computer.
Yeah. And the computer's got a Windows 10 on it? Probably does.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's good news because you can download from Microsoft a Windows 10 installer. They make it available for free. Just Google Microsoft Media Creation Tool. You download Windows 10, you put it on a USB key. You need an 8-gigabyte USB key, and you can install Windows from that. And because that is a Windows 10 computer, it was authorized to use Windows 10, that's all you have to do. They don't do serial numbers anymore.
Okay.
So that's an easy thing to do. But again, maybe when you go in, have the Geek Squad do that too. Say, we want to buy a hard drive, have you install it, and have you put a fresh copy of Windows 10 on it and see what the cost is. That's cheaper than buying a new computer. And frankly, that computer's only a year old. It's going to be plenty fast. It's fine. I don't know what they're talking about with the refresh rate. That doesn't make any sense.
I I don't know either, but I want to get him his own because it seems like whatever he touches, it's a problem. He's been starting to want to use mine. I only let him do...
Yeah, see, this is the thing. Now, here's the trick on Windows 10, is to make an account for him, you know, a user account for him, and don't make it an administrator account. Just make it a regular user account. That way, he can't install anything without your permission.
Okay.
That's what I do with our 14-year-old, because otherwise he'll just...
He's 10 now.
Well, 10, 11, 12, doesn't matter. He'll install anything and everything, and that's how you get in trouble. So you just say, you know, hey, here's your login, and then you'll hear him say, hey, Grandma, I can't install this. And it needs your password. What's your password? Now, don't you tell him your password. You come over and you talk to him. You say, what do you want to install? You look at the site. You make sure it's not a sketchy site. And then you can log in with your password. Make sure he's not watching.
Okay.
And that's how we do it. And that way, he can't do any damage to your computer or his computer. So give him his own user account on your computer that is a standard account. And that way, he can't do any harm.
Well, I still want to get him his own because it's 3 days after Christmas.
Aw. How much do you want to spend?
Well, not really. Well, I'm getting a little bit of money from an accident that I do want him to have his own because when he's using my daughter, she can't use one.
Right.
Of course, now neither one have one.
But we can get her fixed. That's an easy thing to do.
Okay.
And then, I mean, really, seriously, that's under $200 to fix that and get a much faster, better drive. The drive itself, $50 to $75.
Okay.
And then whatever it costs to get it, installed and put Windows on it. So that's that. I mean, frankly, I would still recommend Dell. There are other manufacturers, Acer, ACER, Lenovo, Lenovo, but they're going to give you the same runaround after a year.
Okay.
1 year and out, baby. That's it. They don't charge you. These computers are so cheap, they don't make enough money to be, beneficent. They're making $25 a computer. Yeah. So that's why we got what we wanted. We got cheap computers. I mean, really cheap computers. But there's, the side effect is you can't expect them to, in the days when you spent $2,500 for a computer, well, then maybe they'd repair the hard drive for you.
Yeah.
Right?
But it's just, they sent her the new hard drive.
No, I understand.
That just doesn't seem right.
No, I agree. And you could write to Michael Dell, but you can pay $80 and get 2 years support. I mean, that's the thing. They're going to say, well, you should have bought the gold support.
Well, she could hardly afford the computer.
I understand. But that's what you get when you get a $300 computer or $500 computer. You can't expect them to give you anything extra. That's it. Okay. One year and out.
Okay, well, I've always had HP, and they've lasted for like 4
It's
or 5.
the luck of the draw. Any company could have this problem, and they'll all treat you the same way.
Okay,
it's just chance.
That was made by IBM previously?
It used to be, but they're not anymore. They're made by the Chinese company Lenovo.
Okay, and so Acer is the same thing?
Acer's Chinese company.
Okay, yeah.
Dell and HP are the only U.S. companies. HP's fine. They make some very nice laptops. The problem is, any company, if the laptop's $300, it's going to break and it's not going to be repairable.
Okay.
That's just the way it is.
Okay.
Because that's what we get when we pay. We're getting a deal. I wish there were better news for you. I still like Dell. Any of these companies, the same thing could happen. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Problem is that the kid wants to play games, right? He wants to play Minecraft and stuff, right?
And he wants to do some coding and that kind of thing.
And Scratch. I think that's so cool.
Yeah.
So we want to encourage the kid to do this. You might ask in the classroom.
Well, he's out of the class.
Oh, he's not anymore?
No, he just finished up about a week ago.
I'm trying to think what a good choice would be.
Yeah, because, he takes it all over. He takes it, he
needs a computer. So the downside is he's young, and it's a laptop. He's going to take it in his bedroom, and you're not going to really be able to monitor what he does with it. So I generally say get a desktop and put it in the living room. because then you can see over his shoulder what he's doing.
Yeah.
He won't like it, but too bad. We do not let our 14-year-old have a laptop in his bedroom.
Okay.
You understand?
Yes, I understand.
Yeah, so it's a good idea to, at 10, he's probably still obedient. Give him a couple of years.
Oh no, he talks like a teenager.
Yeah.
He talks back, we never know anything. No, that's not how you do it.
Well, it's cool. I mean, and so he needs to be involved in this purchase too, because what you don't want to buy is something he goes, the heck with that.
He told me he would even accept my old Windows. Well, now it's got Windows 10 on it, but my old HP one. He said, I just like one, and I thought, well, that's good because he can't be carrying it around. And,
Well, that's a good, okay, so here's another thing. Give him that old HP and don't run Windows on it. Say, you can have it, but here's the deal. You have to put Linux on it. It's a free operating system, much better for him. Because he can do Scratch on it, he can do all the things he does on it, Minecraft on it, but it's not as vulnerable as Windows. But more importantly, he's going to learn real computing.
Okay.
So I would say to him, and here let's be a cagey grandma. Say, well, all right, you can have that old HP, but only on one condition: you can't run Windows on it. You have to run Linux on it.
Okay.
And Linux is a free operating system he can download at one of them, and a very good one is Ubuntu, ubuntu.com, ubuntu.com. He can download that, put it on the HP. It'll be like a brand new computer, by the way. Wipe the drive and put it on there. It'll run faster. He can do Scratch on it. He could program on it. Actually, programmers tend to prefer it for programming. He can run Minecraft on it. All that stuff.
Yeah, because if he has his own, then his mother can use hers when she needs it.
So do you not use the HP anymore?
No, I thought I was going to use it because when I got Windows 10, I didn't know what to do.
Yeah. How old is the HP?
Oh, 2010.
Oh, perfect. Put Ubuntu on that. I wish I could come over and do that. Do you have anybody in your family who's like a geek?
No, my grandson.
Your grandson, when he's
no, he knows more. He knows some stuff.
But here's the deal: this is clearly a kid that's interested in this stuff. He should be using Linux at this point. This is where all the growth is going to happen for him.
Okay.
I don't know how we get him to do that.
Well, if that's his only choice. I mean,
say, hey, you know what? I got a deal for you. You could do this. You could do this. Just download Ubuntu. Do you have a USB key lying around?
Yeah.
You can download it. They put it on a USB key, and then you boot to it on the HP. The HP, when you first start up, you can choose what to boot to. I think you press F11 or F12 or escape or delete, one of those keys, and choose to boot the USB key, and Ubuntu will run. And you'll be in live mode, and it'll actually be running it off the USB key, which is a little slow, but at least shows you that it works.
Well, I have I think a 32 one and maybe a 64.
Perfect.
One
That's
also,
all.
so
You don't. It's just for the install. You can reuse it after that.
Okay.
And then you don't need to keep it. And then after you use it and make sure it works, I'm telling you, do this with your. Oh, I wish I could go over there and do this. What's your grandson's name?
Aiden.
Say, Aiden, we got a project. You can use Grandma's HP. You can have it, but there's a condition. I don't want you to use Windows on it. It's too old. I want you to use Linux. And by the way, Linux supports Scratch.
Okay.
It has a free Office suite on it. He has word processor and PowerPoint and all that stuff. He can download and run Minecraft on it.
Okay.
He can program it. He can learn Ruby or Python or Perl or any of these other languages. Scratch is a great start. If he's learned. Does he like Scratch?
Well, I guess he does. I didn't go to the classes with him, but he just finished. But
if I were going to pick a language for a kid to start with, I'd pick Scratch.
Okay. Well.
So great start.
I'm out with so I'd never heard of it, and he'll come in and tell me stuff on Minecraft like, well, yeah, I decided to select the wool carpet. I thought, how many 10-year-olds talk about wool carpet,
I know. Isn't it? Our kid was saying things like, well, what's the difference between a ruby and a diamond? And, because that's the materials they use when they build stuff in Minecraft. So they know about wool carpet.
Yeah. And then he got to do his, when I was a kid in school, I'm almost 75, we built missions for California.
Yeah, out of sugar cubes. I remember that. Yeah.
They do it on Minecraft and turn in the flash drive.
Yeah. No, really? They allow them to do that for the mission project?
Absolutely did.
Oh, that's hysterical. I guess they're going where the kids are. Yeah,
I know. So look at this. I said, well, I've never seen any seating like that in a church, but that's what he had to pick from, So, but I'm just, so I want to, since he doesn't seem to like anything else, he doesn't like sports,
No, he's a geek. And you know what? That's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. So let's make him a real geek. Let's get him. Let's get him using a Unix operating system, and in 10 years he'll have a business, and he'll be supporting all of you.
Well, hey, I need that already. Yeah. Yeah.
Seriously, it play to his strength. It sounds like something he's really into, and I bet if you said you can have Grandma's HP, but you have to install Ubuntu on it.
Yeah.
He'll know what you mean. And, or maybe there's a class or something like that, but he'll know what you mean. And he'll say, I want you to use Linux because I don't want to have an issue with malware or viruses on my network. And it'll run faster. And it's great for Scratch. And it's great for Minecraft. He'll know that already, probably.
Okay. Well, this old computer, it's a AMD Athlon, and it's 635 quad, and it's got 6 gigabyte of RAM and a terabyte of hard drive.
Perfect. It's made for Linux.
Okay. So we'll get Linux on here. And
yeah, get Linux on there. Say, honey, what is this Linux thing? Do you know anything about that? Yes, Grandma, I know everything about Linux. Okay, good. Guess what? The HP is yours. Now, you could also, if you want, you could find a geek who could install it. It would be easy to do, and then just give him the HP with Linux already on it. But
Okay.
There's some, like I said, I could come over and half an hour later, that computer would be brand new running Linux, and you could give it to the kid and it'd be so great. Well, Ubuntu is very easy. It really is. I bet he could do it.
Okay, hey, you said Ubuntu.
ubuntu.com. I got to run because the music is back, and that means I have to be on the radio.
Thank you.
You're great. Thank you, Vicki. Take care. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, smartphones, digital photography, virtual reality, headgear. 8888 Ask Leo, my number, 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada or Thousand Oaks. That's where Nick is. Hi, Nick. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for hanging on.
No problem. I'm hoping you can help me. I'm trying to help out a brother-in-law. He's got a Samsung Smart TV on which he'd like to mirror either a tablet or a notebook computer.
Sure. So depending on the Samsung Smart TV, I have one too. I'm pretty sure all of them support something called DLNA. And Samsung probably has their own name, Samsung Smart View or something like that.
He does have Smart View.
Yeah, they always have some goofy name. So the idea is, Apple kind of co-opted this. If you have a Macintosh or an iOS device, you can use what they call AirPlay and AirPlay to an Apple TV device. But Samsung calls it Samsung Link. It's essentially the same technology. It's based on DLNA. Or apparently sometimes they call it All Share. All Share. So,
well, I know he has Smart View, and I'm wondering what the better. First of all, I'm wondering, can he use that TV directly for internet browsing, or does he need the?
Well, Samsung, in most of their smart TVs, does have a browser. It's a terrible browser.
Yes, that's what my experience is.
Yeah, it's a terrible browser. So if you can get AllShare working, then you would be able to have your laptop and be using it to surf on your big screen, and then you'd have a good browser. There are, it's not perfect. I mean, you're doing it via Wi-Fi.
Right.
It's not. Sometimes there's dropout. Sometimes there's lag. Apple really did a good job. They took DLNA. DLNA is the underlying technology, and they took DLNA, and they added some stuff, and they branded it AirPlay, and it works quite well. But it's still around, and Windows boxes call it Miracast, M-I-R-A. Cast. Samsung probably supports that as well. So the trick is probably to Google his TV model and DLNA or Miracast. Does he have a Windows? What does he want to stream to it with?
That is the question. He's looking at either a notebook computer or a tablet, and I'm thinking a tablet might be better for him. He's not very tech savvy.
So Samsung, here's another name they have for it, screen mirroring. So
that only be video and no audio?
No, it should be audio as well.
Oh, okay.
But it depends on the model. So what you really need to do is Google that model that he has. And then Google it with, I would say, Google it with either, if he's going to get a Windows device, the word Mira, M-I-R-A, cast, that's all one word,
okay.
Or the generic term, which is DLNA. So the other way he could do it, if you find the Samsung stuff, because I'll be honest, I'm underwhelmed by Samsung's software on their smart TVs. If you find it's not reliable or working well, you can always go out and get a $35 Google Chromecast. It looks like a USB key that plugs into the HDMI port on the TV. Then you'll use Chromecast on a phone, a laptop. If you're going to do it on a laptop, you'll have to use the Chrome browser. And the same thing. And it works, I think it works a little bit better. I use Chromecast all the time. For instance, if you have a smartphone that has Netflix on it or a variety of other things, you can start the movie in Netflix on your phone and say, cast it to my TV, and then you're watching it on your TV, audio, video, high def, everything.
So if he were to use a tablet as a device, what tablet do you recommend?
Doesn't any tablet would work with the Chromecast.
Okay.
If it's an Apple tablet, he'll have to buy an Apple TV. Apple doesn't support the Windows flavor of this stuff. But most Android devices support DLNA.
And so Samsung tablets.
Samsung would be fine. Yep.
What tablet? He'd like a largest screen as possible on the tablet.
Well, I think Samsung makes really big ones. I don't know how good they are. So they have kind of all Samsung tablets are divided kind of into two kinds. The Note tablets have a pen. They're like the Galaxy Note.
Right.
And then they have the tabs, which are really just more traditional tablets. Although I see some tabs now have S Pen support. Any of these are fine. And they do make a really big one. I think it's 20 inches, 17 inches. It's just bizarre. But that's kind of it's intriguing, and they're not very expensive. So basically any Galaxy Tab would be just fine. I like the Tab S2. That's their latest version. That's a little more expensive, but that is a very nice tablet.
Okay, and slightly related, if he wanted to type, suppose he was using the Samsung browser on his television, is there a keyboard that can link to the TV via Bluetooth or whatever?
Any keyboard, any Bluetooth keyboard will work. Yeah, Bluetooth is Bluetooth. So because the TV supports Bluetooth, you can use any keyboard. And they make home theater keyboards that have a little trackpad on it and buttons and stuff if you want. That's kind of an all-in-one. But you could use any Bluetooth keyboard.
Sounds good. Thank you, Leo.
You're welcome. You're a nice brother-in-law. We're going to help a brother-in-law out here. Somebody mentioned, and I do like them, the NVIDIA makes a very nice Android tablet called the Shield. It's a little pricey. It's really, because it's got the NVIDIA chips in it, it's really designed around gaming. But they're really nice. Not the Shield Android TV. I actually have that one, but the Shield tablet. And it's fairly out of stock. I guess they stopped making them. Both of them are out of stock. Sigh. It's a problem with the tech industry. They just can't keep anything in stock. You know what's in stock right now, waiting for you? A great new alarm system from Simply Safe. Ever find yourself on the way to work and thinking, oh, did I lock the door? Did I close that window? And you're not sure, and sometimes you just turn around and go home to make sure. Well, you don't have to worry if you've got Simply Safe Home Security. It's just a nice extra layer of protection for your home. An arsenal of sensors to protect you against intrusion, glass break, even things like water leaks. They've got HD cameras now and 24/7 monitoring that won't gouge you with no long-term contract, just $14.99 a month. That's a third what the other guys charge for the same 24/7 monitoring. Brand new high-def cameras, too. If you've looked at Simply Safe before and said, I would get this, but it doesn't have the camera, it has the camera. Go to simplysafleo.com right now. Check it all out. You could keep an eye on your home from anywhere. You can keep your family safe at night. If you're going on vacation, going out of town, don't worry. simplysafleo.com. And don't forget to look at that new HD camera, simplysafleo.com. The nice thing about Simply Safe, it's easy to install yourself. You don't have to get an installer traipsing through your house. It always makes me nervous because they're seeing all the security stuff. They know what windows are protected. Do it yourself. Keep the bad guys in suspense. simplysafleo.com. We'll take a break and then come back with lots more. I'm waiting for, speaking of Android tablets, somebody said, you know what, the NVIDIA is out of stock because they'll probably do a new one in January. And that's because CES is coming up in a couple of weeks. That could be it. But the one I'm waiting for is Google. I want Google to announce a new Android tablet. Their Pixel C was great, but it's been a long time. They're due. That's the one I'd watch for, and I bet you early next year. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Scott, Orange, California, you're next. Hi, Scott. Thanks for hanging on. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hello, Leo.
Hello, Scott.
We really enjoy your show, even when everything works right.
I am the king of nothing working, however.
That's true. That's why I'm calling.
If it don't work, bring it to Leo.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, I've got an iPhone 6, and I haul equipment every day, heavy equipment, and I use the navigation, the Apple navigation, to get around, find out where I'm going.
Yeah.
And it's working weird, and I think it's because I think it happened right after the last update. That's when it seems to have started happening. And what it does is the arrow that shows you where you are is not on the road. It's off the road, And
no.
It's pointing the wrong way.
Is it doing this in both Apple Maps and have you tried Google Maps to see if the other maps?
I have. I've tried Google too.
And in both cases, your position is off by 100 feet, 200 feet, something like that?
Oh, yeah. And sometimes it's not even, sometimes it travels right down the road and then all of a sudden it jumps you up to where you should be on the road. And when you I'll set a destination in when I start, and sometimes I'll just say, I'm going to go this way instead of that way, and normally it'll reformat or reroute, they call it,
right,
and it'll adjust your route to take you where you're going, right, and it doesn't do that anymore. It sort of just stays on one position in the map, and it's really hard to get around now because most of the places I'm going to, I've never been there before. So.
Yeah. It's so funny. Remember, I was talking with a friend the other day about the Thomas guides. Remember, if you wanted to get around, you'd buy those books of maps, spiral-bound books of maps for the region.
I used to use them all the time.
All the time. And you'd look up the street. You'd go to the G17 on page 72. You'd run your thumb down the line, and you'd find the place, and then you'd have to do your own directions. But that was a skill that's dead now, right?
Well, you can't even buy them anymore. In fact, they're made right here in Irvine.
Really? They don't make them anymore?
Yeah, the place is gone. You can't even get them. But yeah, I've got a few old ones, and I used to use them. I've been doing this 30 years, and I used to use them all the time.
Oh yeah.
And,
I would always have a Thompson guide in the back seat of any car I had.
Yeah, exactly. And the nice thing that I do miss about them is you could look at the whole area and kind of plan your route around. Yeah. Where it's kind of, at least with a 6, I think my next one I'm going to get the 6 Plus, because the 6, when you're looking at an area trying to figure your route, out of someplace, if you expand it out stretch it out to see the names of the streets, you can't see where you are anymore. You just see a street, and I think that's because of the little screen. But that's a side issue. That's
what's nice, and what really did change the world, and it didn't start with the phones, it started with the GPS devices, the TomTom and that you put in your car, and the Garmin's. And what's nice is those voice turn-by-turn directions. Of course, it turned us into terrible drivers because we don't pay attention anymore, right?
Well, and the side effect I've noticed is I used to know how to get around real good and know the names of the streets.
We don't need to.
Now you just rely on the GPS and you just kind of turn and you forget.
We're kind of goofy now. We're just floating around going, I don't know where I am.
Yeah.
What's the computer say? So it's really bad if it doesn't work.
Exactly.
So the way, of course, the GPS is a satellite. In fact, it's a bunch of satellites, and the way your phone works in any GPS radio is it has to get at least 3 satellites to triangulate your location. And it receives, so it's a radio, it's a passive radio, but it actually looks at the GPS satellites and it finds the best signal from the ones it can see in the sky. And it also, GPS devices keep an almanac because the first time you go to a new area, it takes longer to lock in your GPS because it actually has to download the almanac and kind of get you going in that area. Then, in theory, in future, locks will come much, much more quickly. And they've gotten better in terms of lock speed. I remember in the early days, GPS sometimes would take minutes to figure out where you are. Your phone does more than that. It also uses cell towers. That's not a great way to do it, but it gives you some kind of rough location. And Wi-Fi. In fact, you've probably seen the message, to improve location accuracy, turn on Wi-Fi. And the reason is Apple and everybody else use databases. These were originally compiled by a company called Skyhook. Apple and Google now, I think, do their own thing, where they drive around with a GPS and a Wi-Fi antenna, and they say, well, at this GPS location, this Wi-Fi signal is 7 bars, this Wi-Fi signal is 4 bars, this Wi-Fi signal is 3 bars, and they actually compile a database based on the relative strengths of Wi-Fi signals in any given area. And so Wi-Fi can become fairly accurate, too. It uses all 3. Mm-hmm. It sounds like if you're off a few hundred feet and then it jumps, something's wrong. There's a good diagnostic. Hey, you got something wrong. It could be that your antenna, your GPS antenna, it really needs a view of the sky. So I don't know if it helps to keep your phone on the dashboard or somewhere where it can see the sky.
Well, yeah, I have it mounted on the dash.
Okay.
Nothing's changed.
Yeah. So that certainly will help. It could be that with age, the receivers have damaged. It could be that you make sure you have Wi-Fi turned on. A lot of times people turn that off to save battery.
No, I do.
Yeah,
the thing I've noticed, part of one of the symptoms is, how it gets the blue circle around it.
Yeah, it goes very big at first, right, and then narrows in.
Yeah, but now it's like they're a lot.
That's right. Okay. That's the signal that I can roughly tell where you are, and that's coming from cell phone tower. I would guess your GPS is damaged.
Just damaged out of the...
Yeah. It's a radio. It's a physical device.
Yeah.
I think, it's not, by the way, I was looking. I don't see a widespread reports of bad GPS after updating to 10.1. So it's probably a hardware issue with that particular phone. Do try rebooting it. Have you rebooted it?
Yeah, I've tried with the home button pressed, shutting it off.
Yeah, all right.
That doesn't seem to help.
I would bring it into the Apple store. I don't know if they have diagnostic equipment or not, but I would almost At this point, if you're getting the big blue circle, that's why you're 100 feet off. That only gives you a rough triangulation using cell towers. Your GPS isn't locking. And if it's not locking, it could be a physical problem with the GPS. I guess it could be software. But Apple's pretty good, even though this is well out of warranty, at diagnosing that stuff. I'd check. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. So 72 GPS satellites have been launched. Not all of them are operational. The minimum number of satellites for a full constellation is 24 operational 95% of the time. This is a Wikipedia. Currently, we've got more than that. The target number is 33. And here's the satellites by launch dates. So the first was launched in 1978. I talked to a guy who had I guess he was with the DOD. I think it was the Defense Department that launched these originally, and was involved in the original launches of the GPS satellites and setting up the system. And back then, it was kind of, he said, it's really kind of amazing for me to see this in my hand now. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. Yeah, if GPS goes wrong, we're so dependent on it now, right? He said he was interested in buying a new phone. That might be one way to fix this problem. An iPhone 6 is fairly old. Apple's had problems, by the way, with the iPhone 6. They've agreed to replace the batteries on some 6 and 6S devices. The batteries were dying prematurely, not fully charging. They agreed to absorb the cost. There has also been a problem that a number of people have reported with the screens on iPhone 6s, I think. Apple says, well, okay, you must have dropped it, but we'll pay half the repair cost, which sounds to me like an admission of guilt. It's $300 to fix it, but we'll only charge you $150. But it's not our fault. You dropped it. Okay. Anyway, if you do have problems with the iPhone, even an older iPhone, Apple's very good about supporting it, and you can usually just bring it to the Apple Store. If you can find it without a GPS, maybe you have one of those old Thomas guides, you can look up the address. Jeff in Idaho Falls, Idaho is our next caller. Hi, Jeff.
Hey, Leo, how you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Oh, I'm hanging in there. It's pretty cold here in Idaho, but
oh, I can imagine. What's the temperature?
It's right at about freezing.
Oh, that's nothing.
Sounded through it.
I understand though. I've been told that a big Arctic cold front is coming your way.
Yeah, we're kind of getting ready for that.
Batten down the hatches.
It's getting closer, colder. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what can I do to warm you up?
Well, so I've got several computers on my network at home. Some of them are Linux boxes, and a couple of them are Windows.
Okay.
Windows 10.
Okay.
And every now and then I have some speed issues, and I'm not quite sure if it's my home equipment or if it's something between me and the internet. And so I would like to try to find a cross-platform, something that will run on Linux and Windows that will allow me to check my local area network for both speed and maybe devices that may not be working just exactly the way they're supposed to be working.
Yeah, of course, Linux, as I'm sure you know, has a bunch of built-in utilities for this. I mean, this is Linux, because it's of its roots in Unix, is really a sysadmin's operating system. And one of the things sysadmins are always doing is looking at LAN speed and performance and all of that stuff. So, but cross-platform, I know you've got great tools on Linux. I'm looking at some tools for Windows, and I wonder if some of them are available on Linux. Yeah, usually you don't see that. So I'm gonna have to. I don't know. Maybe there's a sysadmin in the audience who does this kind of cross-platform and can help me out. How it's particularly your LAN speeds you're looking to test, right? Not your WAN speeds.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm familiar with speedtest.net, and some of those.
Yeah, that just tests your internet. That doesn't tell you much about what's going on.
No.
Yeah.
I've looked at things like there's a program called LAN Speed Test, but that primarily runs in Windows, and I think they might have a version that runs in Mac.
Yeah, I see they now have an OS 10 version, which is kind of cool. If they have an OS 10 version, I would bet they've got a Linux version. I mean, once you've written it for OS 10, let me just check. It's not such a hard thing to do to port it to Linux, because OS 10 is basically, a BSD operating system under the hood.
Right.
That's from TotuSoft.
Yeah.
See, and what everybody in the chat was saying, well, I use JPerf to run on Windows and Linux, or is JPerf available for Windows? That might be a good solution. JPERF.
JPerf. I've run some iPerf servers before, but that's not cross-platform as far as I can tell.
Apparently JPerf, which is an open source program, is available for Windows. That's for Java testing, though, right? I'm not sure I understand how he's using it over the network. Maybe that's something that comes as part of it. This is something I'm not sure I have a good answer for you, but I bet you we can get one if you keep listening. We've got a lot of IT guys and sysadmins in the audience who could probably figure out exactly the best way to do this cross-platform. Some of them say, simple tools like ping and traceroute are pretty good. Oh, okay. JPerf does throughput testing as well as Java testing. So JPerf is, and this is from Dan in our chat room. He says, I use that on Windows and Linux. So that's something to take a look at. That's on SourceForge.
Okay.
Yeah. There are quite a few, tools to do this. This is something very commonly done. But here's one, JDSU Network Analyzer Fast Ethernet. Tell you what, here's what we're going to do. We're going to collect all these and put them in the show notes at techguylabs.com. All right?
Great.
All right. Hey, I appreciate the call. Tracy, you're coming up. Lewis in Michigan's next. Hi, Lewis.
Well, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Thanks for taking my call.
Good.
Say, I have to start out by saying I'm a woodworker. I pound nails. I'm not.
Well, don't pound nails into your computer. I can tell you that's a bad idea.
Not real well versed here.
Okay.
But anyway, I'm having an issue with my cell phone.
All right.
After the second time I dropped it on my shirt pocket, it was toast. I had a Verizon Samsung G6.
Now, did it break like the glass, or did it just stop working? Yeah.
No,
yeah.
It broke.
It broke.
Anyway, with the cost of repairing it, and I still have to pay the thing off. I still owe.
Oh, isn't that frustrating?
Whatever. Anyway, I decided to go with a paper minute or whatever paper carrier. Anyway, I bought a Samsung J3 through, it was at the Target store.
Yep.
But I signed up with Consumer Cellular.
Okay.
Anyway, all my data is on the Verizon cloud. All my phone numbers, all my photos.
Oh, boy.
And they will not let me retrieve it.
No, you're not a customer.
I'm not a customer. Now, I still have two phones with Verizon.
When you were using the Samsung, did you, because Samsung also has its own backup system, as does Google. So if you were using either of those systems, you still can get those on your J3.
Yep. Of course, I heard about that too late.
Too late. You used Verizon's system. Isn't that terrible? That's just lock-in. That's how they keep you in. And, you know, they're playing off your ignorance because most people with Android phones just say, well, I'm on Android. I'm going to use the Google system.
Yeah.
That's what I would prefer. And when I have a Samsung, on my Samsung phones, I use both Samsung and Google, kind of belt and suspenders.
Yeah.
But the carrier's the last one. The carrier's the last one you'd want to use, I'm afraid.
Yeah. Actually, the only reason I used that was when I bought a new phone through Verizon. You know,
well, they make it easy, don't they? Yeah.
Yeah, they backed everything up.
Sure, they do.
The Verizon Cloud, and then downloaded on.
I have no idea how you could get it without a Verizon account. I don't know how you can get it. In fact, once you dumped your Verizon account, it's possible they dumped your data. You may be out of luck. I wish I had a solution for you. Maybe somebody listening did this and says, "Oh, here's how you trick them." Wouldn't be against that. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I would bet Google. Do you have the same Google account in your? Oh, he's gone. I bet the Google, if you had the same Google account that you used, it has a copy too, right? You know, ever since this show started, I've been telling you about the Go-To meeting. Literally, they're the sponsor. Oh yeah, even if the phone is broken, that's a good point. Even if the phone is broken, but you have to be able to say yes on the old phone. They're mentioning Samsung Smart Switch, but that in Android has the same thing. You put the phones back to back and you copy the data off one from the other, but you still have to approve it on the old phone. And if it's not working at all or you can't see the screen, that's not going to help. I love it when we get a new musical director. Get all new music. Thank you, Crystal. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Thanks also to Kim Schaffer answering the phones today, lining up your calls. Tracy in Los Angeles, you're next. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Thanks for taking my call, Leo. I've been running and listening or doing housework, listening to you for many years, so thanks for your public service.
You've been on hold that long?
Can you believe it?
I'm thrilled that you listen. Thank you, Tracy.
So good news is I'm actually purchased an LG phone by your request and Carbonite, so I've tried to support the people that you've
Keep up the good work.
Absolutely.
We love our sponsors. Is what makes the show free, which I really like having it free so everybody can get access to it.
And it's a great public service for us, so we both win.
Thank you.
So a couple months ago, my phone just crashed on me, and I thought all my photos were backed up. Long story, they were not. I purchased a new phone. Yeah, I know. I don't even want to. Very, very unsatisfied situation. But anyway, we have to learn from these things.
Yes.
So I now.
You know who's good at backup? People who have lost data.
You are so correct.
That is a lesson I don't want anybody to have to learn. That's the hard way. But boy, you don't forget it.
No, you don't forget it. So I now have Google Photos, but I'm noticing on my Google Photos that it's not backing up every single picture. And in fact, I made sure I would sit at my computer until we spoke.
Oh, it's supposed to.
And it's not.
Are you on Android or iOS? iPhone?
No, I'm the LG.
Oh, yeah, you said the LG. That's right. So the reason I ask is iPhone's a little weird. You have to launch Google Photos and say back up because things can't run in the background. But Android, it should just automatically be backing up. You say it backs up some, but not all.
Correct. For example, I'm sitting here looking at it right now, and I'm only backed up through October 11th, and obviously we're on December 4th. So I'm missing, a
lot. And you really do want it to back up. So I would go into Google Photos, the app, and check the settings. So there are a couple of things. For instance, one of the settings says only backup on Wi-Fi. And if you have that turned on and you're not around Wi-Fi a lot, it's it might run out of time to back up what it needs. You should also, so I'm in the settings right now. You go to settings, and then at the very top there is backup and sync, and go into that, and make sure backup and sync is turned on. Choose whether you want to back up full resolution photos or smaller ones. You get unlimited storage for the lower resolution, although I find they're just fine. The other thing to do is make sure where it says device folders that you are backing up from all of your possible device folders. So you'll see in there that there are device folders, not just the camera roll, but there are others. Make sure those are all turned on. Whenever a photo is stored in a different folder, Android is supposed to sit up and take notice and say, hey, do you want me to back this folder up too? So if you start using Snapchat, it'll say, I see you're taking pictures and saving them to a Snapchat folder. You want me to back that folder up too. You can turn on cellular data backup if you want. If you have unlimited data, you might want to do that because that'll make sure that the photos get backed up the minute you take them, even if you're not home yet.
And I don't, and that's part of the problem. They are killing me on my data.
Okay, then turn that off. Yeah, then turn that off. You should also look at the setting that says while charging only and while roaming. You know, it may be that you're artificially disabling backup at the wrong time. But my experience with Google Photos has been great. There are other choices, though, and you don't have to rely solely on them. Anybody who's lost photos knows that it's worth doing it on different systems. If you're an Amazon Prime member, are you an Amazon Prime member?
No, and I guess my ultimate question would be, if this is it possible to just go directly from my phone? And I'm sitting here, so I've got my cable plugged in.
Oh, yeah.
Just download all the photos from my phone directly to my computer.
You should totally do that.
Okay, could you help me with that?
Yeah. So if you have a USB cable, you'll have to have one for your LG that has micro USB on your end, and of course the regular Type A USB. Plug it into your computer.
Which I have.
Yep. And your computer will go boom, boom, and say, you're on a Windows machine, I presume.
Correct.
Yeah. It'll go boom, boom. It'll say, I see a new device. It'll download and install the USB driver. And your phone will, or should, then pop a thing saying, I see your connected computer. Do you want me to be in MTP or PTP mode? There are two different modes. The photo transport mode, PTP, makes it look like a camera. And that's probably what you want because Windows is set up when it sees a camera plugged in to launch a Photos app and to copy those photos over.
Okay.
But you can also use MTP, but then that's up to you to, now it looks like a mass storage device, like a hard drive or a thumb drive, and then you have to open it up and navigate to the various photo albums and copy those over. You can do either. In fact, if you want to have a backup of your phone, maybe do connect it via mass transport protocol mode, hard drive mode, and just copy a bunch of folders. It's not going to take a lot of storage, and then you have a backup of your entire phone. There are also backup programs like Titanium Backup, or I guess it's called Helium now, that will back up your phone to the cloud if you want. Carbonite makes a free app. Our sponsor, Carbonite, makes a free app that you can use to back up your data as well. So there are other ways to do this. But yeah, I like the idea of doing it on your hard drive because then you could see it.
Well, yeah, A, I can see it, and B, I know that Carbonite is backed it up.
Oh, you're using Carbonite at home. Okay, good.
Yeah, and that way I can also put it onto a jump drive, so I should have myself covered in enough ways.
Exactly. Now you're thinking.
Right. So I don't want to lose you. So I'm plugged into my computer on that. So I should just go ahead and plug it in my phone. I'll hear the bing, and I do PTP or I do MTP?
PTP if you want it to be treated as a camera, in which case Windows will handle it. I would do MTP, but then the burden is on you to find all the folders with pictures on it. It'll be, the main camera roll is in a DCIM folder.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what Windows looks for. So you can, I mean, the first time Windows might even pop up a dialog that says, okay, what do you want me to do when you, attach this device? What do you want me to do? And one of the choices will be copy the photos off of it.
Copy photos, right. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. I desperately appreciate your time.
Oh, you're very welcome.
I've been trying to do this for so long, and congratulations. Awesome show, and please keep up the good work. You're appreciated.
Well, thank you. And since you are a Carbonite customer, don't forget that Carbonite Mobile is free and available for your Android device. They have an app that will back up your, it's like an additional way to back up full resolution photos. So.
Okay. And I have to tell you, for anybody who's listening, I've had an incredible experience with them because when my computer died once and I rang them, they sit on the phone with me for a long time when I got my new computer going up. So they've definitely earned their money. I couldn't appreciate them more.
Thank you. That's nice. That's really great. What's funny is they had, the guy who started Carbonite, David Friend's an old friend, and he at one point, like a lot of American companies, outsourced their support. I think it was to India. And it was less than a year, David said, this is a terrible experience for our customers. And they brought it back that you get support from Carbonite in New Hampshire, and they're really good people, really knowledgeable, and it costs them a lot more. Carbonite is one of our sponsors. We love them. Automatic, continuous, off-site backup for Mac or PC, for home or office. I have 45 seconds. Glenn, I don't think that's enough to take your call. I'm so sorry. He bought some noise-canceling headphones. They won't work with his iPhone 6 Plus. I don't know why that would be. Make sure they're fully charged. Noise-canceling headphones should be independent of the device you're pumping into them. So I don't know, and I've used the Boom, and I like it, but I'm not sure why it's not working. Hey, thank you all for being here. Thanks to Crystal, of course, and Mike, both back in the main office, the home office in Sherman Oaks, for keeping this thing rolling. Thanks to Kim Schaffer, our phone ranger, but most of all, thanks to you for listening. Have a great Geek Week. I'll be back next time. I'm Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, it's just the tip of the iceberg. We do nearly 30 shows on the Netcast network. It's called TWIT, T-W-I-T. It stands for This Week in Tech, and you'll find it at twit.tv, including the podcasts for this show. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on Mac Break Weekly, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches on iOS Today, security on Security Now. I mean, I can go on and on and on. You even get your daily dose of tech news with Tech News Today. And, of course, the big show every Sunday afternoon, This Week in Tech. You'll find it all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next week with another great Tech Guys show. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.